She argued Assad isn't worthy of talks. That's a problem if President Trump's goal of leaving Syria is to ever be realized. The administration are setting out a goal that would need to be negotiated and ruling out negotiation. The hope would be a sudden shift toward diplomacy, as happened with North Korea. The entire cabinet favored keeping U.S. troops in Syria in an open-ended way, and France's government echoes that sentiment. French President Emmanuel Macron on Sunday even claimed credit for convincing Trump to keep troops in Syria. British Prime Minister Theresa May has tried to spin the strikes in Syria as being about Russia. This shows that Syria's attackers are not united on intents and goals. Macron added that the U.S. strikes would show Russia that the West is not weak. Are you an advocate for free market money? Do you promote Bitcoin as an alternative in a fiat-centric world? Then you need Spend-A-Bit in your arsenal, the search engine for things you can buy with Bitcoin. Spend-A-Bit aggregates millions of products from thousands of Bitcoin-enabled merchants. Keep your money in the free economy. Visit spendabit.co today. Bitcoin merchants, ask about our merchant suite to reach even more customers. Spendabit.co. UPI reports a Michigan man was arrested Friday after he shot at a teenager who stopped at his house to ask for directions. The Detroit News reported Jeffrey Ziegler was charged with assault with intent to murder and possession of a firearm and the commission of a felony. Before pleading not guilty, he said, "There's a lot more to this story that will come out." 14-year-old Brennan Walker told local media he overslept Thursday morning and missed his bus to school. He then attempted to walk to the bus route from memory but got lost and stopped at Ziegler's house to ask for directions. Walker says, "I got to the house and I knocked on the lady's door. Then she started yelling at me and she was like, 'Why are you trying to break into my house?' And I was trying to explain to her that I was trying to get directions to Rochester High School. And she kept yelling at me. The guy came downstairs. Then he grabbed his gun and I saw it and started to run. And that's when I heard the gunshot." Walker fled the house and hid until police arrived. Walker's mother, Lisa Wright, who was at work during the time of the incident, said she was able to review security footage taken at Ziegler's house and heard his wife say, "Why did these people choose my house?" Oakland County Sheriff Mayor Michael Bouchard said in a statement that there is no world where this is acceptable, adding, "I feel so badly for this mom and young man and am incredibly angry at this disturbing event in our county, state, and country." Ziegler was given a $50,000 bond and was ordered to surrender all firearms to the Oakland County Sheriff's Department, not use alcohol or controlled substances, agree to random drug testing, and attend mental health counseling twice per week. For over 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals. Gold, silver, platinum, and palladium. They don't feed the banks. They're Bitcoin preferred and have removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts Brokerage today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. Reuters reports nearly 207 million eggs from a farm in North Carolina are being recalled from 9 U.S. states after 22 people fell ill, according to the Federal Food and Drug Administration. The Food Safety News website reported it's the largest recall of eggs in the United States since 2010. The eggs may have been contaminated with salmonella, an organism which can cause serious and sometimes fatal infections in young children, frail or elderly people, and others with weakened immune systems. The eggs were recalled by producer Rose Acre Farms through an abundance of caution. The eggs reached consumers in Florida, New York, Pennsylvania, North Carolina, New Jersey, Virginia, Colorado, South Carolina, and West Virginia. This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
This is the Onion Week in Review. Poets across the nation issued a statement Thursday announcing that shadows, inky sharp as the raven's beak, meet the clouds like dusty charcoal on an ashen brow. Citing the ageless gloom of morning and a weary sun, its astroluminescence wrapped in arid gauze, the report noted that doubt lingers in the frail minutes of a young dawn.
For what is the sound of hope? For what is life's moment of fulfillment? The supple lie of spring prolongs the inquisition. Father! Father! Do you not sense the dread of autumn's looming song danced in trembling half-step? 1, 2, 1, 2.
The poets later added, womb, womb, womb. And in local news, a sad sack is bullied by an area goose. In other news, a photographer specializes in those pictures where lights going by really fast look like lines. An entree is apparently the kind you squeeze lime over, and employees finally get that break room bathtub they wanted.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live, and of course you can join us here. The toll-free number for you is 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. And we've got Skype as well, so feel free to Skype in here. Skype username LRN.FM. And we also have Discord, where there's a Discord on-air call-in line chat room where you can get on and sound almost like you're sitting here in the studio with us. So join us on the Discord at discord.lrn.fm. Joining you in here tonight, it's Ian and Melanie as normal. Hey, Melanie.
Hey, what's up?
But we've got a special guest co-host here this evening. Mark called out I guess there's some trees down on his property after a pretty nasty, windy storm last night here in New Hampshire. He couldn't make it. Rich, you happen to be in town. Rich Paul.
It's true. Rich Paul.
Good to have you here. In fact, it's great to have you here, Rich, because the headline we're going to start with tonight is one that you probably will have some opinions about, and that is Canada, where they're considering decriminalization of all illicit drugs.
Yeehaw!
This according to TheGuardian.com, story published today. With months left before Canada becomes the first country in the G7 to fully legalize marijuana, members of the country's Liberal Party, led federally by Justin Trudeau, are calling on their government to go one step further and decriminalize the possession and consumption of all illicit drugs. The internal push to embrace the idea is one of more than 24 resolutions set to be debated this week as the political party gathers for their national convention in the East Coast city of Halifax. The resolution is one of 3 put forward by the National Caucus, suggesting widespread support among Liberal MPs. So it sounds like this isn't yet a proposal for the government. It's a proposal within the Liberal Party. Sounds like maybe a party platform change. Perhaps.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would be really odd for a government to do that.
Well, they did it in Portugal, and that was really odd because
well, it is really odd. And does Portugal actually have legalized drugs, or do they have this
personal
weird
amounts.
decrim?
So they have decriminalization of personal amounts of all drugs. So whatever, LSD, heroin, you name it. If you have under a certain amount, what they would consider to be a personal use amount, where they can't accuse you of being a drug dealer, then I think there's like a decrim process where you still kind of, maybe they're going to confiscate the drug, and I believe we looked into this once, where you might have to go to some sort of class or whatever. So it's not like...
Yeah, because my understanding of Portugal was that it was some sort of... You weren't going to do time, but it's not really a decrim. There's some sort of, almost probation. You have to go to all these classes and stuff.
Yeah,
and
I think there
therapy.
was some kind of class that would be assigned to you that you have to attend. So it's not like totally, no consequence whatsoever, but you don't go to jail. You don't
Right, yeah, and that's
Then
an
the question
improvement
becomes,
from...
though, what happens if you don't go to the class? Because if you don't go to the class and they don't do anything about it, they can tell me to go to classes all day. I don't care. That costs me nothing.
And Portugal's opinion on that might be that they don't care, and it might just be that they're a signatory to the treaty, because I looked up at one point and I knew what countries weren't, but it was like North Korea and somebody else were not signatories to the UN's psychotropic drug, which they define ridiculously, treaty.
Yeah, I think that it's probably, if I had to guess, it would probably be a judge's order, in which case it'd be contempt of court if you didn't go to the class, but that's just, I'm just guessing.
Yeah, but they can still ignore it. I mean, there's nothing...
You're saying the judge could ignore somebody in contempt?
Or, I mean, the country of Portugal could just decide to ignore all contempt charges for drug possession.
I suppose.
I don't know that they are, but that's,
usually
I don't know why they couldn't.
The national government won't have any awareness of whether or not a judge has issued a contempt order. So I don't imagine the only people who could ignore that would be the people who would enforce the judge's order, right? Because if the judge says, Rich Paul, you're in contempt, usually there's men with guns who are going to go ahead and put you in a cage for that. So
yeah, the question is there an organized attempt to track it? It's quite possible they don't bother to track it here. You have to report back to the court. If there's no report back to the court stage, then there's no opportunity to tell the judge you've completed it. Or unless you have a probation officer.
Yeah,
So
I mean, it could be
I
a
don't know
really
what-
shoddily written situation like that, because remember in Massachusetts when they did marijuana decrim a few years ago, they came down to a $100 fine, but there was no enforcement mechanism, meaning that if the people who were getting the tickets in Massachusetts did not pay the ticket, then there was no way for the state to actually prosecute them over that.
Well,
So
the reason
people just started
for,
ignoring them.
The reason for that is because in Massachusetts, you have to commit a crime in order for the police to demand identification.
Okay.
And if it's decriminalized, then it's not a crime, it's a civil infraction. So what it was the police were unable to deny or to demand ID from the people they were writing tickets to.
Is that only true in Massachusetts? Because here in New Hampshire, when they arrested Heike, who was a mutual friend of ours several years ago, that was just for a town violation.
Well, yeah, that would be a state law. So, like in Louisiana, they can just kind of demand your ID because they feel like it. There's some states like that. Or well, I think
in this case, what happened was that they normally would just write you a ticket if it's a violation, but she was refusing to identify herself, and so therefore they arrested her and took her back to the station until they could, confirm her identity or whatever, and then write the ticket out.
Well, yeah, so
but they also charged her with other things. I think they charged her with
it was just open container.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
they
she
didn't
might have
charge
gotten
her with disorderly conduct
She might have got. I don't know,
for
maybe she did.
refusing the order to pour out the beer.
I don't know.
Because
it's a good
I
question.
seem to remember
might be right.
that's what the arrest revolved around. Is they said pour out your beer, and she said no, and they said, well, we're going to arrest you if you don't. She still said no.
Okay, so our recollections are different. We were both there for it, but
I was
and we both got
drunk,
arrested.
though. So if I could be wrong.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure she got arrested because she didn't identify herself, and that is on its own crime here. If you don't, it's called failure to ID or something like that. Failure to identify.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah, in most places you'll have to tell a cop your name and address. Some of them tackle on the unconstitutional and what you're doing clause, but yeah, it's not uncommon for a state to have a law that says you have to tell the cop who you are. If they ask.
See, if they ask me what I'm doing, I'm going to tell them I'm talking to you.
So back to Canada, where the Liberal Party, they've got a resolution put forward here. Nathaniel Erskine Smith, a Liberal MP who's championed decriminalization since he was elected in 2015, said, quote, "It's one of the few issues where we're taught from a young age that drugs are bad and that it's normal to throw people in jail for using drugs." He said further, yet when you actually start looking underneath those claims and at the actual evidence and hear from people who have studied or lived this issue, this isn't the right approach, unquote. And of course, he's absolutely right about that.
Oh, yeah.
Putting people in jail for what is at worst a personal problem, a personal issue with addiction that somebody might need help with, putting them in a jail cell is not going to help them. And I also don't think forcing them into treatment is going to help them either, so I'm
and
opposed.
it's not going to help any of the other people at treatment who actually want to be at treatment.
Correct.
By the way.
And even if you look I was in AA for 22 years, so I know something about addiction and recovery. And if you read the chapter 2 Wives in the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous, what it says is if you know an alcoholic who doesn't yet want to get sober, tell him you have a way to get sober and then leave him alone until he does. Right. And when he comes to you remorseful, when he comes to you saying, my God, what have I done with my life? Right. You remind him of this. And when you catch him and he's ready, that's when he's hit rock bottom. And until that happens, he is not going to recover.
Exactly right. And so, I don't support the treatment, the forced treatment. I think that it's a better option than putting somebody in a jail cell.
True.
But it's still forcing somebody into doing something against their will, and that's not helpful.
Yeah, the thing that I objected to, they tried to order me to go to ChemDep treatment after I got convicted of selling weed, and that's one of the things they violated my probation for. And as I said on the stand, I will no more claim to be a marijuana addict than I will claim to be a unicorn. So that was my reason for not going. I was not going to malign the drug, and I wasn't going to lie about myself. I may be an addict, but I'm not addicted to marijuana.
Okay, fair enough. The toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE like freedom. We'll continue here. Again, this is a step in the right direction. It's not a proposed law yet in Canada, but the Liberal Party going to be considering a platform change to support decriminalization across the board of all drugs in Canada. More coming up.
Ike was such a sweet, lovable animal, and people would want to pet him, and they'd come up, and they'd get close to him, and it would be this instant, oh! My dad didn't want to touch him. It's like, ooh, get the stinky dog away from me.
Even after we'd give her a bath, she would still stink.
Very stinky, both bad breath and bad gas. I asked the vet, and he said some dogs are just stinky.
Does your dog itch, scratch, stink, or shed like crazy? Come to Dinovite for help.
DINOVITE.com.
The omega-3 fatty acids.
Flaxseed, zinc, alfalfa, the digestive enzymes that are cooked out of regular dog food.
The ingredients convinced me that it was definitely worth trying. After about a week, he started smelling normal. My husband and I were really kind of astonished.
Dinovite is nutrition.
859-428-1000.
DINOVITE.com.
What's more profitable, running your business or doing bookkeeping? Doing your business, of course, but you want to keep your books so that you can maximize your tax savings, right? What if I told you that there's a person that's a bookkeeper, accountant, and law school graduate that's also a hardcore libertarian?
My name is Melanie Johnson, and I hate the state. I will aggressively help you to minimize your tax exposure and maximize profits, all while staying within the law.
Melanie's your best choice for your taxes and bookkeeping needs. Go to tax.freetalklive.com and check out our website, tax.freetalklive.com.
Cryptocurrencies are successful because of good technology. The liberty-loving voluntarists who founded Zencash in 2017 took the best tech, like zero-knowledge anonymity and decentralized autonomous organizations, and are creating a secure platform for money, messages, and media that can be sent to anyone, anywhere in the world. Zencash is a cryptocurrency dedicated to peace, anonymity, and decentralization. Find out more at zencash.com. That's zencash.com.
Free Talk Live.
But we have the opportunity. No one has the opportunity.
Look, just hold on. Just because the slaves can pick the head slave doesn't mean that the slaves are free.
Oh, that's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. Look, if people actually got up and voted for things, there might actually be some change.
People do actually get up and vote for things, and change always results in the same crap.
What are you going to do that's different by voting?
Two choices between crap sandwiches, man.
You're speaking out of both sides of your mouth. On the one hand, you're saying, oh, hardly anybody votes, so you can barely say this is a person of right. And then I said, well, gosh, if people get up and vote, maybe things will change.
Hold on, that was only one thing he brought up.
Here's what I mean.
When people do vote, it doesn't make any difference because of a number of reasons.
People never vote in numbers that could actually reflect what
Why should I vote for any of these thugs? They're killers. They're murderers.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern. Live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
Did you know you can watch Free Talk Live during our live show 7 days a week from 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern via our studio cams at cam.freetalklive.com? Plus, you can chat with other listeners while you watch, all totally free. Now that our live video stream is hosted by YouTube, our video archives will be online even faster. So be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Listen, watch, and chat all free at cam.freetalklive.com. That's cam.freetalklive.com.
We've all heard about blockchain assets like Dogecoin, Ether, and Ripple. Bitcoin isn't the only player in the blockchain game any longer. And for those of us wondering how to get our hands on these digital assets, finally, there's a solution. Shapeshift.io allows you to buy and sell between your digital assets and Bitcoin instantly between your own digital wallets. I've used it with ease. Shapeshift.io. There's no account or email address needed. You send them the crypto you want to sell. They send back the crypto you want to buy. It's that easy. Shapeshift.io.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at LRN.FM.
It's Free Talk Live. Dial toll-free to join us here. Our number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We've got Skype as well, so you can Skype on in here at Skype username LRN.FM. In fact, that's where we're going to next take our first call here tonight. But first in the studio, it's Ian.
Melanie.
And Rich Paul.
Also, don't forget, if you need help with taxes or you want to bring a professional in who can help you maximize the amount of money that you keep instead of money going into the government's pocket, Melanie is an anarchist and a tax professional. So good luck finding that combination together. I suspect the amount of anarchist tax professionals in the world probably you could count on one hand, and Melanie is one of them. And she's here and she can help you, even though right now you are in the midst of probably a pile of work, I'd imagine.
Yeah, so April 15th falls on April 17th this year. I had originally thought it was today, but apparently today is a holiday in D.C., so the post office is open, but taxes aren't due till tomorrow, so I have a couple things still, people sending me their last information back that I had asked for.
So for people that have been dragging their feet to the very, very last minute at this point, what do you recommend that they do?
I recommend that they file an extension.
And can you help them with that?
It depends. So
you're pretty loaded up.
I can tell that. So an extension is basically your name and social security number.
Mm-hmm.
If I file it, I have to say what I think your estimated taxes are, and if I could say that, I could do your tax return.
I see. So
if you guess wrong, then they'll be like, "Well, you're not an accountant."
I see. So
and
right
you're gonna
now,
have to pay him interest, but you know.
So right now, if you haven't done anything yet and you've been waiting till the last minute, and you want to file an extension, you're saying it's best to file that on your own somehow and then get in touch with you. Is that the idea?
Yeah, or just if you email me, I'll probably be able to send you the link or something. But
okay, so you can help them do it themselves. Is what you're saying?
I can send you the link for extensions.
Okay, cool. And then of course you can hire Melanie to take care of all of it for you from that point forward. And again, maximize the amount that you can avoid, paying to these government goons or get back from them. Maximize that too. So whether you get a small business or it's just an individual thing, you can help them, right?
Yeah, small businesses, individuals, investment income, S-corps.
Escorts?
I mean, yeah,
It's legal, technically.
Well, it's legal to file taxes. It's not legal to do it unless you're in Nevada.
Well, it's legal to be an escort in all the states, from what I understand.
Yeah,
no, because that's not what escort means.
Just provides companionship, technically.
That's not true.
That's right. An escort's just a woman or a man that you pay to be your companion for an evening.
Now, she may be more than an escort, but you don't find that out until you get there.
That's later, right? If she wants to tell you about that. All right, so let's go to your calls and thoughts. If you want to get in touch with Melanie, you can go to tax.freetalklive.com, tax.freetalklive.com, and that will take you straight to her website where you can reach out to her directly. Let's go to Mortified Penguin. He's on the line in Virginia via Skype. Go ahead, Penguin.
Hey, guys. I got a question for you, anarchist. Without the government, the question is, who will build the roads?
Walmart.
I prefer voluntarist. I don't really care for the term anarcho-capitalist. I think it's two very ugly words married together. But yeah, I think that all human interaction should be consensual. So, I mean, whoever wants to provide the roads, whoever can profit from providing the roads would likely be who does it.
And on a more serious note, the amount of minarchists and statists that ask me who will build the roads demonstrates one thing, and that is that there is a demand for roads.
For sure.
So someone will build them. Someone who wants you to come to their business will build infrastructure. Somebody who wants to be able to leave their house will. I mean, a road is a flat surface. It's not like this complex device that only 3 people in the world are qualified
Sometimes
to do.
they go up and down and around things, but otherwise, yeah, it's pretty.
I like the Tom Woods quote of, what do you imagine that I'll be standing here in front of my house and the store will be over there and we'll all just stand there scratching our heads, not knowing what to do. Yeah. How do we build a road to the store?
It's also possible that in the absence of the FAA, that we could have flying cars by now and not need roads. That's possible.
That's a possibility.
We won't get there right away. Obviously, if the state disappeared tomorrow, we'd have to have time to develop that. But I mean, a road is a flat surface.
The flying
Helpful
cars.
hint, it's just like a parking lot, but longer and thinner.
Right. And parking lots are built all the time by private companies. In fact, probably
sure.
99% of them are private companies' parking lots. And in fact, you can look at private roads. They do exist. You know, there are like gated neighborhoods. Yeah. Those are usually private roads. Yeah. Disney World, those are private roads.
There are probably more driveways than roads out there in the world, too, and each one of those is a private road.
Yeah, that's true.
So the new version of that, the criticism of anarchism of anything is the new who will build the roads. I've also noticed is basically the anarchism based on private property rights eventually devolves into consolidation of property, and then people have to pay taxes that rent the property. And eventually it devolves into monarchy and feudalism. I mean, that's what I've seen on the internet lately. That's like the next generation of who. So what do you think of that?
It's highly debatable if that monarchy isn't even preferable to the system that we have now. And any argument that rests on we should have a state because if we don't, then we'll have a state. It's like, so the worst thing that's going to happen, you're telling me if we don't have a state is that we will. That's just kind of irrelevant to me, because just because something, even if that's true, just pretend that's true. So there's always going to be murder as far as I know. That does not mean that I'm not going to be anti-murder. And nobody's calling me idealist for that.
And warlords have already taken over. Okay, Trump is a warlord. Obama was a warlord.
Sure.
Bush was a warlord before them. They're all practicing the same foreign policy. So at least chances are good whoever took over for him, if it was just a criminal gang or something harmless like that, wouldn't have nukes.
Right. So the theory, though, just so I can understand it, Penguin, is that if we actually got rid of this idea of the state and that all property were privately owned, the theory that you've been encountering online is that somehow that private property would then consolidate into the hands of a few owners, and then they would essentially be dominating the people on that.
And they would own it hereditarily, and they would ask for they would demand rent for their private property.
So here's a solution: just don't sell. I mean, if you're worried about some crazed warlord or, some wannabe warlord buying out your property from you, just don't sell it to them. And I imagine not everybody is going to be interested in selling their property to people that, might end up being crazy.
Well, what he's describing, though, if I may, let me restate your concern and see if you're right. When John, or see if I'm right in understanding you. When John Locke wrote about homesteading, he said you have a right to homestead and to appropriate land for your own use, so long as there is as much and as good remaining for others to homestead, because there should always, according to him, there should always be homesteadable land available in every society. Now, in the United States, all of the land which is not claimed by a legitimate person or company has been claimed by the government, and that violates the Lockean proviso, and this is a problem.
Isn't anarchy, though.
Hold on, let's continue the discussion here in moments. You're welcome to hang on for it, Penguin. The toll-free number, if you want to join us, 855-450-FREE like freedom. 855-450-3733. If all property were privately owned, then what? It's Free Talk Live.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Slingbow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug-out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of Slingbow, a new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
Face it, today's electric power grid is more vulnerable than ever. From natural disasters to EMP attacks and hacking, the grid could be crippled for days or even decades in the most dire scenarios. Visit quantumharvest.net to see our built-to-last EMP-protected solar power systems. While millions suffer, you'll have vital power for water pumps, refrigeration, and sanitation. Now that's peace of mind. EMP-protected solar power systems for every need and budget. See our full range at quantumharvest.net.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
When you hear the word lobbyist, you probably think about greedy corporations, but not all lobbyists are the same. Some are fighting for the freedoms you hold dear. Liberty Lobby LLC is doing just that in New Hampshire, working hard to represent you, not some special interest group. You can help by going to libertylobby.info, where your contribution will give us the tools we need to ensure that your voice is heard. Visit libertylobby.info today to find out more.
Did you know we've taken our LRN.FM telephone listen line to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on demand line? Now you can call 712-770-8447 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed. And you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long distance fees may apply. Just dial 712-770-8447 and choose from the menu. 712-770-8447.
I've been told no in many different ways.
I give you an order and you're going to obey it.
George, you can go this way.
You can do that and you have to leave here.
You cannot bring signs into the rally.
Walk with me. Well, I'm comfortable here, actually. Whoa, hey. Who do you think you are? Excuse me.
There is no video and audio allowed in this office.
No, I have work today.
You ain't gonna make it.
Wait a minute. Hey! Oh my God! Unbelievable! Why are you running from me? Because you're scared me. What am I being detained for?
You're being served.
What is this?
You're being served.
What is this?
Bureaucrats have a funny way of telling people no.
That's the sound of the men working on the chain.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com.
You can sign up to receive the latest about the Liberty Radio Network via our email updates at updates.lrn.fm. That's updates.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. You can bring up whatever you want. Our number is 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. Skype username is LRN.FM. We've also got Discord at the Discord on-air call-in line room. Just jump on in there at discord.lrn.fm. And also want to make sure you know about Bitcoin.com. If you're interested in learning about cryptocurrency, maybe you've been putting it off, you've been waiting, you're not so sure, you want to get a little more information, go to Bitcoin.com. There's no better site to get started. Learn the basics about the cryptocurrency that started it all, which was, of course, Bitcoin back in 2009. Not quite there for a decade, but coming soon. It'll be here with us for a decade. Go and learn more now while you still can over at Bitcoin.com. It's not too late to get involved. Even though Bitcoin's like $8,000 per unit, I think that's around the price where it's at today. That doesn't mean you have to buy a whole Bitcoin. You can buy a fraction of a Bitcoin. You can get $20 worth of a Bitcoin. That's not a problem. So you got to learn the basics, though, first. So go to Bitcoin.com. If you aren't so new to Bitcoin, you want to get the latest news headlines, then just go to news.bitcoin.com. You'll find updated news there every single day. Once again, that's news.bitcoin.com. As we go back to Mortified Penguin, he's on the line in Virginia. You'd called in tonight about a question regarding private property. You say you're hearing people online, I guess in online discussions about these issues, saying they're worried about the idea, the sort of libertarian ideal of ending the state, getting rid of the idea of public property and having private property all over the place. The fear that has been put forward is the idea that that would result in some sort of consolidation of property into the hands of the few, which would result in the rise of some form of a dictatorship or monarchy or state. And I don't want to put words in your mouth, but was my understanding correct of what you were saying there?
Yeah, specifically a hereditary monarchy. It's the meme, it's a king, it's a big fat king on a throne, and has all his private property and his and he doesn't demand taxes, but he demands his rent, and that's basically a monarchy.
And see, I don't think that there's any evidence of that. In my opinion, businesses are artificially large because of things like corporate protection and state liability protection.
Oh, I totally agree with that. Definitely.
So, I mean, they're kind of just making that up. Like, if you had to defend all your own property, which you would under anarchy, nobody is going to own, 200 acres, or I guess that's kind of a low amount. Nobody's going to own 200,000 acres spewed across the continent. They're not going to be able to upkeep it. So you're limited under anarchy, you're limited by physics, whereas under the state will provide you free protection services. So you're less able to do that under anarchy.
Yeah, I would tend to agree with that, and that's also, I think, what would prevent the Lockean proviso from being violated in most cases, except where there is extreme overpopulation, because there are some pieces of land, I think, that would not be worth defending. And until population pressure goes up a little bit, and then suddenly pieces of land that were marginally not worth defending become worth defending to somebody, and he homesteads that land. And of course, the cost of defending land is going to increase anytime you have homeless people. So basically, it's going to get more, if more and more people are becoming homeless, it's going to be more and more expensive to keep them off your land because they're more numerous. Perhaps they're organizing. Eventually, they're going to get irritated and get guns and
well, I mean, just because somebody is off their property doesn't mean they're going to be homeless, right? So, I mean, in theory, let me see if I'm understanding this correctly. The idea would be that we're going from a situation where all property is privately owned to that privately owned property over time being accumulated by one owner in a certain geographic area. Well, that would mean that one owner, the Bill Gates of the area or whatever, who wants to just start buying up land so he can create his own monarchy someday, he's going to have to spend a lot of money, right? He's going to have to lay out a lot of money in the marketplace before he can ever claim, even if he gets a chance at buying 100% of the land in that given area. It's going to cost a tremendous amount of money to do that, especially if people start noticing the land getting sold.
It's also impossible because people don't sell their houses unless they're going to derive enough income from those houses to buy another house.
Generally.
People don't sell themselves into homelessness. Right. So what he's going to do is he's going to cause a bubble in the real estate market as more and more people try to squeeze onto less and less land and have more and more money to do it.
Well, they'll just
so
leave.
You're eventually, well, some of them may just leave, but for those who want to stay, they're going to bid up property prices in that area.
Correct.
So it's not like he could just buy it's like trying to buy up all the Bitcoin in the world. You can't do it because as you try, it becomes more and more valuable and it runs out of your reach.
And the thing is, Bill Gates could do this now. So right now, Bill Gates could go buy up all the land somewhere. There's a couple of people who don't want to sell. He can either A, use eminent domain and steal it, or B, because the land values are going up, because now Bill Gates owns all the surrounding lands, now your property tax go up, so you can't afford to pay the property tax, so you have to sell, which is not something that happens in anarchy. Any rich person could go buy up a bunch of lands and rent it and have their own rules right now. There's a few things they can't do that conflicts with law as far as, behavioral rules or income rules on the lands. The state is what enables this to happen.
So basically there's all kinds of economics that say this is an impossibility. Even if the only way that the person could avoid, this rich buyer, the only way they could avoid tipping off the market that there's a rich guy going around buying up stuff is if they made simultaneous offers on every piece of property that was so good they couldn't be turned down, right? Like, it would be impossible.
Something like that. But, are there enough lawyers and realtors to pull that off.
Yeah, it's impossible.
I mean, yeah, it's so I think what you're dealing with is what we call in computer science a corner case. It's a case where there are a confluence of very unlikely events, and I think that this that the probability of this playing out this way approaches zero if it isn't zero.
And then an additional issue on top of all of that, which I think is kind of, everything previously is the main point, but as an additional point, right now we kind of look at land as an incredibly finite resource, and right now it is.
Yeah.
And I mean, nothing's infinite as far as my understanding of the universe goes, but so seasteading would be incredibly difficult to do right now because there are multiple states that will attack you. Terraforming would be incredibly expensive and incredibly difficult to do because they won't even let you go into space without paying them insane licenses. So we can, the actual landmass on the Earth might not be able to increase, but we can increase usable land. And right now we might not have that tech yet, but right now we have the states preventing that. And maybe you could create land on the ocean, I don't know, but they're not going to let you go into space and terraform Mars because they're not going to let you go into space. But we might create that tech by the time we run out of all the government lands that are sitting vacant right now being guarded so the deer can run across them or whatever.
I think you are actually allowed to go into space. I think they decriminalized that, or they deregulated that, or a while.
Yeah, but
they did let that crazy flat earther guy take off, apparently.
Did they let him, or did he do it
hospital a
anyway?
day
I think he did it anyway.
I think he survived.
Yeah, he did survive.
He did survive.
Yeah. Well, plus then you get the SpaceX thing where they were competing to get to space like a decade and a half ago. I think that's when they deregulated it. It was right after that they came out with SpaceX.
Did they deregulate it, or did they say pay us a $7 million licensing fee? Because those are two different things.
I'm not sure.
Okay.
It used to just be
that
the government.
$7 million though sounds like a very specific number. Where'd that come from?
It's one of my random numbers.
Okay.
All right. Hey, Penguin, thanks for the call tonight, man. I appreciate the discussion. Really what it sounds like is just, you're talking to people on the internet who don't really understand property and don't really understand economics, and they probably have never owned any property in their life. These are the people who are getting on there saying, well, if it's all private, then some Bill Gates will come in and just buy it all up. They probably have never actually owned property and don't know what it's like. Hey, here's a news flash. You don't have to sell if you own the property.
Not in anarchy, you don't.
Right.
Under the state, you might.
There's more on the way here. You can take control of the airwaves, bring up what you want. 855-450 free like freedom. 855-450-3733. It's Free Talk Live.
Does your dog itch, scratch, stink, or shed like crazy? Come to Dynavite for help.
Order a 90-day supply of Dynavite. Dynavite is nutrition.
Pick up 2 bottles of Lico Chops. Get the 3rd bottle free.
New improved Lico Chops with omega-3, omega-6, vitamin E.
And now, 6 extra direct-fed microbials.
Even better for the digestive tract and immune system.
Try Lico Chops. Buy 2, get 1 free.
At Dynavite.com.
DINOVITE.com.
Zencash is an end-to-end encrypted system with zero-knowledge technology over which communications, data, or value can be securely transmitted and stored. With over 7,500 secure nodes, Zencash has one of the most distributed node systems of any cryptocurrency. Zencash is a platform for cryptocurrency and communications built by voluntarists for voluntarists, with the ideas of voluntary interaction being written into the white paper no less than half a dozen times. Learn more at Zencash.com. That's Zencash.com.
It's about time something new came along for better selling and buying online. And I found it.
What now, Marge?
It's buysellmakeoffer.com.
Never heard of it.
It's a brand new company. That's why you've never heard of it. It's the newest and best way to sell any products online. I did all the research.
Sell my car?
Yes.
Our home?
Yep.
My golf bag?
Your golf clubs. All of them.
How about your purse collection hoard?
Hey, now.
You said any product.
Right. I did. We get 30 days free.
Really?
Packages starting from only $9.95. And buysellmakeoffer.com will never charge item fees, ever. Never. And this is cool. Listen to this. You can even use Skype or video to show your items.
That's cool.
Yes. All we have to do is go to the website, sign up, and then load our stuff to sell. I love this site.
Buysellmakeoffer.com.
Buysellmakeoffer.com. You got it?
Buysellmakeoffer.com.
Buysellmakeoffer.com. Better selling, better buying.
Free Press Publications is an independent, alternative media and publishing company founded in June 2009 with the mission of ensuring a free press for the freedom movement and is committed to spreading the message of peace, freedom, love, and liberty. FPP also gives new authors an avenue for publishing freedom-oriented material. FPP brings you daily news and commentary on the website fpp.cc, as well as a daily 5-minute newscast, FPP Radio News, and weekly news, views, and commentary in the FPP Freedom Minute and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio at fppradio.com, and the monthly newspaper FPP News at news.fpp.cc. Find FPP online at fpp.cc. That's fpp.cc, as in Creative Commons.
If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list. Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com.
Hi, this is Mark Edge of Free Talk Live. Michael W. Dean's book, User's Manual for the Human Experience, changed my life. In a culture that attempts to turn you into a compliant victim, this book gives you implementable steps on everything from how to be aware of your environment, walking down the street, to business, to how to handle a toxic person in your life. If you're a human, you need to read this book at least once. Go to Amazon and get the Kindle version, or paperback, or an audiobook of A User's Manual for the Human Experience.
What's up next? Visit the Liberty Radio Network program guide to find out at shows.lrn.fm. That's shows.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. Dial toll-free. Join us right here. Our number is 855-450-FREE like freedom. We started out talking about drug decriminalization. We can get back into that. Plus, microdosing is back in the news. We'll tell you what that's all about coming up here as well. With you in the studio tonight, you've got Ian.
Melanie.
Rich Paul.
Don't forget, you can join us online over at freetalklive.com. All of the features on the site, we give them to you. If you like what we're doing on Free Talk Live, you appreciate the work that we do, then please amp the show over at amp.freetalklive.com. AMP stands for Advertise, Market, and Promote. It's $5 a month, or you can use Bitcoin Core if you would like, PayPal, credit card. You sign up, and then it's $5 a month that we then get into, invest into Free Talk Live, so we can get on more radio stations around the country and bring new internet listeners on board. We're over 180 radio stations now, and that's a new record high for Free Talk Live. And that's a lot of it is thanks to Free Talk Live listeners like you becoming Free Talk Live amplifiers. And of course, you get some cool perks like access to the AMP Only call-in lines, the AMP Only podcast, which doesn't have the regular commercials that our normal podcast does. There's also the AMP Only Facebook group. We also now have AMP Only Discord chat rooms and more. Go get all the details. Get signed up at ampamp.freetalklive.com. Let's go to your calls and thoughts here. Dave, he's in New York. Dave, you're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead.
The other night when I called, I was on hold for way over an hour. I hung up because I was on hold for way over an hour. I had a question I wanted to ask, and you guys had me on hold for way over an hour. And
Should we get you a wambulance?
I just put him on hold again here. Dave, let me explain to you, Dave, while you're on hold here, since you're presumably still listening. The reason why you were on hold for more than an hour the other night is because it was Saturday night, and Saturday nights are very, very busy nights here on Free Talk Live. We get a lot of callers on Saturday nights. Tonight is a Monday night show, so right now you're the only caller on the line. But on Saturday night, we had loaded up calls all night long, and when that happens, people who are regular callers get moved to the back of the line. So that's why. Because I want to hear from people who I don't know. I want to hear from people whose voices...
How about people who call up and yell at us get moved to the back of the line? How does that sound? I like that policy.
I had a question I wanted to ask.
Well, then ask your damn question instead of complaining.
My question was, because there's a woman who I like, who I really, really like, but I don't want to sound too much of a creep, but I want to find out.
That ship's already sailed, my brother.
Listen. There's a girl who I really, really like, right?
Is this a wrestler?
And
is this another wrestler? Or is this a girl from real life? Because the last time you called about wrestling girls.
Yes, it's a girl from real life.
Okay, so what's going on?
Girl from real life. All right, let's hear it.
Okay, yeah. But I don't want to sound too much of a creep, but I really like her. But I want. Stop! Please stop.
You gotta stop saying that, bro. Stop it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
have a question that I want to ask her.
See, the thing is with Dave, I don't know if you're new to Dave, Rich. But
this is my first shot at Dave.
The thing with Dave
is a hell of a drug.
He always repeats himself. So he constantly will say the same thing over and over again throughout his call. You have kind of to.
Doesn't that make him sound like a creep?
Well, let's go on. Wait till you hear what he has to say. I don't know what's going to come out of his mouth here, but go ahead, Dave. Girl problems. All right, let's hear about it.
How do I go about finding out if she has any hair down there?
Well, you hire a marketing
why
research.
Is that important? Like, I mean, serious question. Why is that important?
Because people think that, just because I like a woman who wears nail polish on her hands and feet, people think that, I'm creepy for asking that kind of question or whatever.
Well, okay.
Because I like women who.
So that is creepy to ask that kind of question.
How? How is that creepy? I just want to
How
find
is
out.
that not creepy?
Okay, Dave, you're asking someone a question. I'm not sure what words I can say on the radio. But you're asking them a question about
when in doubt,
that
leave it out, I guess.
About somebody who you're not in a relationship with. That, I mean,
you're asking about an intimate part, an intimate portion of somebody's body that they will only allow you access to if they are comfortable with you. And by asking that question, you're almost guaranteed to make that person uncomfortable with you.
You're not wrong.
Therefore, that is creepy.
Yeah, how is it creepy that I like women who wear nail polish on their hands and feet? That's not creepy at all.
That's not creepy, but that's an entirely different thing.
You can observe whether the girl has, unless she's wearing closed-toe shoes, you can observe whether a girl has nail polish on her hands, but you can't just observe their nether regions. And
the truth be told, if you start asking a woman if she's wearing nail polish on her feet because she's wearing shoes, yeah, that's creepy too. That's a weird thing to do.
Well,
People
okay,
don't
so
do that.
Dave, do you play video games?
On and off.
Okay, so you know how they have different levels, and like you start at level 1 and you go up to level 20 or 100 or wherever that particular game ends?
Yeah, whatever. Yeah.
Okay,
but,
okay,
but I like women who wear nail polish.
We know, Dave.
Dave.
That's the fourth time you've said that now.
You don't know this woman, so you're at like level 1. And you're asking like a level 30 question. In no video games, you get to like find out at what's level 30.
You gotta
like go in order.
Now let's find out a little more about this lady here, Dave.
I also have female friends who I actually know, who I actually hang out with. But then, I want to know, like, how would I find out if they have any hair down there?
Okay,
I don't know why it would matter for your friends.
You could break into the rooms and inspect their panties, but that would be illegal.
Also really creepy.
It is creepy, but that ship has sailed. It's going to be creepy.
Dave, let's talk a little more about who this person is without naming her name, because that would be wrong. But is this somebody who you've met before, or is it somebody who you simply see on the street or in a grocery store or something? What's the circumstances with you and this woman?
Somebody who I actually know. I've actually there's two people who I've known for many years.
Do they send you messages by wearing different clothes?
No, we just we usually text back and forth like, hey, how you doing? How's your day going? That kind of thing,
So you've got two women that you say you've known for years. You text them regularly, back and forth. Now, what was the circumstance where you met these women? Just pick one of them. Let's talk about just one of them.
I've known them since high school.
Since high school. Okay, and you've continued to have a relationship on text with them. You've never been out on a date with either of them.
Yeah. Well, one of them I've been up. I used to date one of them.
You did used to.
Okay. How long ago was high school?
About 20 or so years ago.
200?
20.
20. Okay,
20.
groovy. Yeah, if it's 200, you'd definitely be in the friend zone. That's way too long.
So, have you been out on a date recently with either of these girls?
One lives far, far, far away. I'm not going to mention where she's at.
Okay.
And the other ones, but I just want to know, because I like girls, and then some people on Facebook are saying, oh well, if you look, finding out girls who wear nail polish on their hands and feet, oh that's kind of creepy. No, it's not. It's not creepy if I like women who wear nail polish on their hands and feet. But and every guy who I know has always seen the tatas, but tatas are like big, small, whatever. How do you go about finding out if a woman has any hair down there?
Okay, so
I usually have sex with her.
Socially appropriate.
I mean,
David.
I have seduce her, go down on her. If you're picking something from between your teeth, that's
you'll
hair.
know.
Okay, Dave. There is no socially acceptable way for you to find that out about somebody who you are not in a sexual relationship with. And whether that's fair or not, or whether you like that or not, there's nothing any of us could do to change that because we are not the arbitrators of social appropriateness.
Let me give you a little bit of advice here.
And if you're picking something from between your teeth and it's not hair, seek medical attention.
So Dave, here's a little bit of advice for you. If you're looking to meet a member of the opposite sex or the same sex, whatever your preferences are, if you're looking for some sort of a romantic relationship, potential partner into the future, does it really matter whether or not she has hair down there? Because shouldn't you be meeting somebody because of their personality, because they, gel with you, they get along with you?
So let's say that that's the most important thing to you. We're talking about a changeable attribute.
That's what I'm saying.
And is your preference with or without? Because they don't actually go bald. I mean, it's not like my head. It can grow back.
Because I have seen porn too many times, and the women who have no hair down there, that doesn't interest me at all.
Okay, so you want them hairy down there. I gotcha. So here's again my suggestion is, Dave, get into a relationship with a girl. Don't worry about what's going on down there, because if you get down there, then you get closer to the point where maybe you're comfortable enough with this person to where you could have a conversation about preferences. But until then, forget about it and just try to actually meet somebody.
Just stay there till the undergrowth moves in.
Thanks for the call, Dave. There's more coming up here in moments. Hour 2's on the way. Free Talk Live.
I tried other brands, but I came back to my Sunshine.
For the best hot or cold pain relief, get the best. Get a Sunny Bay heating pad.
Sometimes life can be a pain in the neck or back or shoulder.
And the best relief for that pain is a Sunny Bay heating pad. Did you know that the American College of Physicians said that one of the best ways to treat muscle pain is heat therapy? Sunny Bay heating pads are handmade with high quality, can be used at home or at work, and have a lifetime 100% positive rating on both Amazon and Etsy.
Why take another pill?
Many people use our Sunny Bay heating pads alone and got rid of the neck pain.
Long distance travel or long hours in front of a computer can take its toll on your body.
See why our homegrown small business at sunny-bay.com has tried to help people just like you. Get your Sunny Bay heating pads at sunny-bay.com. That's sunny-bay.com or call 253-678-1361 for hot and cold therapy. sunny-bay.com.
My name is Jacob Hornberger. I'm president of the Future of Freedom Foundation, which Congressman Ron Paul awarded for having an outstanding freedom website. Write us at fff@fff.org, and we'll send you a free 3-month subscription to our monthly journal of libertarian essays and our booklet, Economic Liberty in the Constitution, which George Mason University economics professor Walter Williams praised in a recent column. That's fff@fff.org.
Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get 1 free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Monday, April 16th, 2018. Silver is trading at $16.67 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,347 per ounce. Zen Cash is trading at $34, and the average price of Bitcoin is $8,129. Antiwar.com reports U.S. Ambassador to the United Nations Nikki Haley announced on Sunday that the U.S. troops in Syria will not be leaving the country until all their military goals are accomplished. Those goals no longer seem to begin and end with the Islamic State. Haley says the U.S. military priority in Syria is to ensure that Iran does not take over the country, suggesting U.S. troops could be a deterrent to that. There's little doubt Syrian President Bashar al-Assad, an Iranian ally, will survive this war. However, Haley ruled out any direct talks with Assad. She argued Assad isn't worthy of talks. That's a problem if President Trump's goal of leaving Syria is to ever be realized. The administration are setting out a goal that would need to be negotiated and ruling out negotiation. The hope would be a sudden shift toward diplomacy, as happened with North Korea. The entire cabinet favored keeping U.S. troops in Syria in an open-ended way, and France's government echoes that sentiment. French President Emmanuel Macron on Sunday even claimed credit for convincing Trump to keep troops in Syria. British Prime Minister Theresa May has tried to spin the strikes in Syria as being about Russia. This shows that Syria's attackers are not united on intents and goals. Macron added that the U.S. strikes would show Russia that the West is not weak. Are you an advocate for free market money? Do you promote Bitcoin as an alternative in a fiat-centric world? Then you need Spendabit in your arsenal, the search engine for things you can buy with Bitcoin. Spendabit aggregates millions of products from thousands of Bitcoin-enabled merchants. Keep your money in the free economy. Visit spendabit.co today. Bitcoin merchants, ask about our merchant suite to reach even more customers. Spendabit.co. UPI reports a Michigan man was arrested Friday after he shot at a teenager who stopped at his house to ask for directions. The Detroit News reported Jeffrey Ziegler was charged with assault with intent to murder and possession of a firearm in the commission of a felony. Before pleading not guilty, he said, "There's a lot more to this story that will come out." 14-year-old Brennan Walker told local media he overslept Thursday morning and missed his bus to school. He then attempted to walk to the bus route from memory but got lost and stopped at Ziegler's house to ask for directions. Walker says, "I got to the house and I knocked on the lady's door. Then she started yelling at me and she was like, 'Why are you trying to break into my house?' And I was trying to explain to her that I was trying to get directions to Rochester High School. And she kept yelling at me. The guy came downstairs. Then he grabbed his gun and I saw it and started to run. And that's when I heard the gunshot." Walker fled the house and hid until police arrived. Walker's mother, Lisa Wright, who was at work during the time of the incident, said she was able to review security footage taken at Ziegler's house and heard his wife say, "Why did these people choose my house?" Oakland County Sheriff Mayor Michael Bouchard said in a statement that there is no world where this is acceptable, adding, "I feel so badly for this mom and young man and am incredibly angry at this disturbing event in our county, state, and country." Ziegler was given a $50,000 bond and was ordered to surrender all firearms to the Oakland County Sheriff's Department, not use alcohol or controlled substances, agree to random drug testing, and attend mental health counseling twice per week. For over 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals. Gold, silver, platinum, and palladium. They don't feed the banks. They're Bitcoin preferred and have removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts Brokerage today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. Reuters reports nearly 207 million eggs from a farm in North Carolina are being recalled from 9 U.S. states after 22 people fell ill, according to the Federal Food and Drug Administration. The Food Safety News website reported it's the largest recall of eggs in the United States since 2010. The eggs may have been contaminated with salmonella, an organism which can cause serious and sometimes fatal infections in young children, frail or elderly people, and others with weakened immune systems. The eggs were recalled by producer Rose Acre Farms through an abundance of of caution. The eggs reach consumers in Florida, New York, Pennsylvania, North Carolina, New Jersey, Virginia, Colorado, South Carolina, and West Virginia. This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
For years, Southwest Airlines has boasted having the most loyal customers in the industry. Now the low-cost carrier is calling on its most frequent customers to finally do something in return for the airline. The company rolled out their new Loyalty Goes Both Ways program in a new ad campaign.
You said you wanted free check bags, and we listened. Now you listen to us.
Southwest's program is part of a new trend of companies not letting their customers exploit them anymore. CEO Gary C. Kelly has gone as far as to record this radio ad, which Southwest started airing nationwide.
Hi, this is Southwest CEO Gary Kelly. If my wife calls asking about me, I need you to lie and say I was with you. Remember all those low fares I gave you.
To any Southwest customers thinking about saying they're too busy to help, Kelly has some harsh words saying, quote, "We're always there for our customers. To anyone who can't do us a solid now and then, f*** you. That's not loyalty, that's freeloading."
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live, and you can bring up whatever is on your mind as we launch into the second hour of the program. 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. And if you heard our last caller, that's proof positive that we will take calls from anyone about absolutely anything. As long as you can dial a phone, you can call Free Talk Live. With you tonight, it's Ian.
Melanie.
And Rich Paul.
Excellent. And also, in the last hour, we just had started a story at the beginning and then ended up getting calls and going off in different directions, as we are wont to do here on Free Talk Live. But the story is actually from TheGuardian.com. It's about Canada's Liberal Party that is actually looking at a proposal, or will be looking at a proposal at their upcoming convention, to adopt a plank of their platform that would support the decriminalization of all drugs in Canada. And that, to me, is an amazing development. I hope that that moves forward for them, and I hope that that ends up becoming policy in Canada as well.
Oh, yeah. That would save so much money and so much pain for people up there.
And it would probably end up saving some lives as well. But let's get into a little bit more about the story, because they do talk about Portugal coming up here in a moment. Because Portugal is the shining city on the hill, or if you will, it's the country that we can look to see, well, what happens if you actually decriminalize drugs in personal level kind of amounts, because they've done it and they've had it that way for like 15 or more years at this point. Anyway, to the story here from The Guardian, framing drug use as a criminal justice issue rather than one of health has simply served to fuel a lucrative black market, divert resources from law enforcement, and marginalize those who are already often on the margins of society, he argued. This is one of the Liberal MPs, Nathaniel Erskine Smith. The push towards decriminalization comes as the opioid crisis continues to claim thousands of lives on both sides of the 49th parallel. An estimated 4,000 Canadians died last year due to opioids, according to the Public Health Agency of Canada, more than the number of Canadians who died due to motor vehicle accidents and homicides combined. So more people dying from opioid use and or abuse than accidents of motor vehicles and homicides combined in Canada. In British Columbia, the Western Canadian province, where officials declared the opioid crisis a public health emergency in 2016, an average of 4 people die of overdoses every single day. The federal Liberal government has taken steps to address the crisis, expediting the approval of supervised injection sites and permitting physicians to prescribe heroin in cases of severe addiction. These are important steps, says Erskine Smith, but he says, obviously, if we want to save lives, we need to do more. And I hadn't heard that news about Canada, and if that's true, then that is some good news. Allowing prescription heroin is definitely a step in the right direction.
Yeah. Now, for those who don't understand why that's a step in the right direction, there are 2 major drugs that they use as substitutes for heroin, and those are morphine and Suboxone.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry, not morphine, methadone and Suboxone.
Okay.
Both of those have worse withdrawal symptoms than heroin itself. So basically what you're substituting is an addiction where the money goes to a drug cartel for a slightly worse addiction where the money goes to big pharma in the United States. So that's not really, having the money go to big pharma really isn't enough benefit to the patient to justify making their addiction worse.
Now, I forget the details on Suboxone, but isn't there also potential for abuse with that? I know it interacts differently with the person.
Both Suboxone and methadone are equally abusable to heroin, and there are people who prefer each of them to heroin out there.
Yeah, my understanding is that it's just a low dose at maybe a slightly different chemical composition, but it's basically just heroin.
Yeah, well, of course, the other difference is quality control, and that is a plus. You never find fentanyl in your methadone.
Yeah, well, and it probably does make it easier to do something like taper off if you know how much you're taking, which is something that Walgreens will provide to you and most drug dealers will not.
That's correct. It's not uncommon for people in the black market to buy, even if they're getting it from the same dealer, that dealer may be getting it from different sources. So even if they think they're getting the same amount, it may be one of the batches is stronger than the next one, and they don't know that until they actually inject it, and then it may be too late, which is what leads to a lot of overdosing as well, where people take more than they thought that they were going to be taking.
Yeah, well, although heroin is the only drug I know of where if you tell somebody that someone else overdosed, they may well respond, "Really? Where'd he get the stuff? That must be fire."
Oh, God.
I've never heard that, but okay.
How many junkies have you talked to?
Well, I worked at a law office for a long time.
Okay, I retract the question.
So back to the story here from Canada. They say here, again, they're considering possible decriminalization of all drugs. It could mean adopting an idea that's gaining steam across Canada as the number of opioid deaths continue to swell. Earlier this year, Canada's New Democratic Party became the first major political party in Canada to officially champion the idea. Weeks later, the city of Vancouver recommended the federal government immediately decriminalize personal possession of illicit drugs. Quote, "We are witnessing a horrific and preventable loss of life as a poison drug supply continues to kill our neighbors, friends, and family," unquote. That according to the mayor of Vancouver, Gregor Robertson. Of course, you may recall the mayor of Toronto for a while had himself his own drug addiction problems. Rob Ford was his name, and he got caught smoking crack on video years ago. Ended up dying.
What is it with mayors being crackheads? That seems to be the big crackhead occupation. I mean, either they wipe your window with a squeegee or they're a mayor.
So weeks later, again, they recommended this. Their stance is backed by prominent organizations from the Global Commission on Drug Policy to the World Health Organization. Many of them point to the experience of Portugal, which in 2001, so 17 years ago, did away with criminal penalties for simple possession and consumption of illicit drugs. The move was coupled with an expansion of treatment and harm reduction services, such as safe injection sites. In Portugal, those caught with drugs appear before dissuasion committees or commissions, which can refer people to treatment or impose monetary fines. So it's not what we as liberty-minded people want to see as the ideal, but Portugal is amongst the countries of the world the most progressive, the best situation that you can possibly find for drugs right now.
Yeah, there's certainly a lot better than here, and I do think we can do better in the future, but if we passed through where Portugal is, it would be a better place.
Statistics say the approach is working. Portugal has seen dramatic drops in overdose deaths, HIV infection rates, and drug-related crimes, while the number of and by the way, that happened quickly. It wasn't like it took 17 years for them to notice, this drug decrim's working. No, it happened relatively quickly, like immediately thereafter, these things started to go down. Because if you take the criminality out of the possession of drugs, then you change so much about that situation.
And if your junkies are getting enough heroin, they'll stay right where they are. They're not going to go out and rob anybody. They're not going to go out and do anything.
Should the Liberals approve of this resolution later this week, decriminalization would be backed by 2 of Canada's 3 major parties. But even so, there's little guarantee the idea will make its way into the Liberal platform in the upcoming 2019 federal election. Justin Trudeau, who leads the party, has repeatedly said his government is not considering legalizing any other drugs besides marijuana. And there's a little bit more to the story here, but interestingly, there are a couple of states in the United States that are actually talking about not decrim of all drugs, but I believe there's a proposal in play in either Oregon or Washington, and I forget which. It might be Oregon. And I believe they're trying to get one on the ballot in California as well. I don't know if any of this has made it to the ballot yet, but the proposal is to decriminalize medicinal mushrooms.
That would rock, and I think it might be Colorado that you're thinking of.
They may be into it too,
but their name bandied about in that context.
It may also be Colorado, but I've definitely seen stories about at least 2 of the western seaboard states.
Did you know they're legal in Japan?
Yes.
Yeah, see, I just found that out, and you can get psychedelic morels in like Sweden.
What is a morel?
Morel is a kind of, or I'm sorry, truffles. A morel is a different type
candy,
of truffle.
Chocolate or whatever it is.
No, truffles. It's a kind of mushroom that gets dug up by pigs.
Oh, that.
Yeah.
Gotcha. All right, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. We got more on decriminalization coming up, and this is Free Talk Live.
What's more profitable, running your business or doing bookkeeping? Doing your business, of course, but you want to keep your books so that you can maximize your tax savings, right? What if I told you that there's a person that's a bookkeeper, accountant, and law school graduate that's also a hardcore libertarian?
My name is Melanie Johnson, and I hate the state. I will aggressively help you to minimize your tax exposure and maximize profits, all while staying within the law.
Melanie's your best choice for your taxes and bookkeeping needs. Go to tax.freetalklive.com and check out our website, tax.freetalklive.com. I've said it many times on air, and I'll say it here. The New Hampshire Liberty Alliance is one of the most important organizations for freedom in the world. New Hampshire is ground zero for freedom, and the NHLA is the best organization at promoting effective liberty activism. This ad is sponsored by Free Talk Live, and I, Mark Edge, am a lifetime member because I believe in the NHLA. Please check them out at nhliberty.org. Not everyone can move right now, but you can support the cause. Donate top cryptocurrencies or old-fashioned U.S. dollars, nhliberty.org. Visit their website and see what they're all about, nhliberty.org.
This is Daryl W. Perry, host of Free Talk Live. This November, I'll be running in the world's biggest and most popular marathon, the New York City Marathon, and I've accepted a spot on Team Innocence Project because I'm a passionate supporter of their work. Since 1989, 353 people in the United States have been exonerated by DNA testing, including 38 who pled guilty to crimes they did not commit, and 20 of whom served time on death row. The Innocence Project provided direct representation or critical assistance in 180 of these cases. With your help, the Innocence Project can help even more people who have been wrongly convicted. As part of Team Innocence Project, I'm raising awareness about wrongful convictions and raising funds to help free the innocent. I've already paid the race registration fees. However, to secure my spot on Team Innocence Project in the New York City Marathon, I need to raise $3,500 by November 1st. You can support the Innocence Project and help me secure my race entry by going to run.freetalklive.com.
On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you amp Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com.
Here's a chance to do a little activism while you're cruising Facebook, Twitter, or Google+. Between the LOL cats, the recipes, the hot girls, and the inspirational sunrise memes, Free Talk Live's posts pass by your newsfeed. Like them, comment. It gives us more exposure. If you don't see our posts, click like at facebook.freetalklive.com and then hover over it to click Get Notifications. It's an easy way to spread spread the ideas of liberty a bit further. I know you're busy, but you can spare that 1/10 of a calorie it takes to click on something. Facebook.freetalklive.com. Radio is the most personal of mediums. I exist right now in your head. If you listen to Free Talk Live regularly, you know me. Free Talk Live is on more than 160 radio stations around the U.S. and has been downloaded on every continent around the world. Hundreds of thousands of listeners with ad packages from $600 a month to $6,000 a month. Imagine what we can do for your business, project, website, or idea. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
If you enjoy LRN.FM, please contribute to your favorite shows via their websites and become an amplifier at amp.lrn.fm. That's amp.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. Dial in toll-free here and bring up anything you want. Our number is 855-450-FREE like freedom. We're talking about drug decriminalization. Maybe Canada is going to be the next country to see across-the-board decriminalization of small amounts of drugs. At least they're in the beginning phases of one of the political parties possibly adopting that for their political platform, which would make them the second of 3 political parties, or 2 out of the 3 would then support drug decriminalization across the board, which would bode well for its chances of actually making it into the government's laws. By the way, with you tonight in the studio, it's Ian,
Melanie,
and Rich Paul.
So Zencash is something you need to know about if you are interested in great technology when it comes to blockchain, when it comes to cryptocurrencies of the world. You've probably heard about Bitcoin. Zencash is one of the myriad of competitors to Bitcoin out there, but only some of those competitors actually have real privacy technology, and Zencash is one of those privacy coins. They've got zero-knowledge anonymity technology, which is some of the best privacy tech out there. They also have a lot of security because there's over 8,000 secure nodes in the Zencash system, which means that it's one of the most secure networks of any cryptocurrency on the planet. Plus, the Zencash founders are voluntarists. They're people who actually care about liberty. They love freedom. And so they have that philosophy as the grounding philosophy of the foundation of Zencash. You can prove it to yourself by going and looking at their white paper, which actually mentions voluntarism. So go and see it for yourself. Learn what makes Zencash so great and why you should consider it. Go to zencash.com. That's zencash.com. As we continue here, the story coming from The Guardian about Canada, where again, this isn't coming into a governmental bill or anything like that. It's just one of the main political parties, the so-called Liberal Party there, which happens to be the party that is currently the top party in Canada, if I'm not mistaken. They are considering adopting a decriminalization platform, which would mean that across the board, possession of small amounts of all drugs would be decriminalized if such a policy were to come forward in Canada. And as pointed out here by one of the representatives or MPs, members of parliament, MP Erskine Smith says, quote, "We're not talking about removing the criminal sanction for sale. We're talking about removing the criminal sanction for, we're not talking about removing the criminal sanction for production as we did with cannabis." So all they're talking about is minor possession being decriminalized. And while I'm not a fan of that as the end game, as a step in the right direction, it's a major step in the right direction, because if you're going to make it legal to carry personal amounts of those drugs, well, all those people have to get it somewhere. So why not go ahead and make it legal to sell personal amounts of those drugs while you're at it?
Yeah, and also you don't gain the supply chain advantages that you gain from actual legalization. You don't gain purity in your drug supply, so it doesn't kill people. So there are definitely some things missing. On the other hand, it would be an improvement. It would save them from wasting a lot of money, and it would save them from trashing a lot of lives.
For sure.
Maybe I'm just a paranoid person, but to me, my concern here, and I don't know anything about their legal system or even their society, really.
The judges wear wigs. If that tells you anything about their legal
system. That tells me absolutely nothing.
No? Okay.
So My concern would be then, okay, well, now all possession charges are just distribution charges, which...
You're saying the police will up it to distribution?
Or the police or the DA or whatever it is
Well,
they
it'll
have
probably
over
have
there.
something to do with the amount, so they'll probably set amounts for each type of drug. So, like, for instance, here in New Hampshire, where we have a very pathetic Decrim bill that went through in 2017, but it's something. They made it so that if you have less than 5 grams of a concentrate, like hash oil, for instance, then that only is a $100 fine for your first offense. Whereas if it's more than 5 grams, then you're in the misdemeanor territory. So they specified 5 grams for that, but for the flour, the marijuana flour, then you can have up to 3/4 of an ounce of that.
Right, but they didn't, and I have never looked into this in any detail in New Hampshire, but they didn't, for that statute, then turn that into dealing or possession with intent to distribute. I'm kind of used to being places where they're like, oh, this guy had half a Xanax and 1 Klonopin, therefore he's a dealer because he has different things. It's like, okay, first of all, nobody sells half pills, but
Well, you did come from Louisiana.
yeah. So
things are extra
I just
crazy
kind
there.
of I kind of just imbue that upon like, oh well, I don't trust you.
I mean, there is no doubt that in some places, if you have, let's say, more than 1 bag of marijuana, they might charge you with a dealer. Because the evidence is, well, you might have more than 1 bag to sell to customers or something like that. But I've never heard of anybody getting popped for having, 1 pill or half a pill as a potential dealer. That I've never heard of before.
Nor I.
Yeah. So let's go on here, though. The change in approach comes with political risks, says one of the political animals. Canada's Conservative Party remains staunchly opposed to the idea and have shown themselves willing to exploit fears over the proposal to gain votes. Last year, the party's leader, Andrew Scheer, attacked Trudeau on Twitter, alleging that his government was considering decriminalization of drugs besides marijuana. Erskine Smith responded by saying, quote, "It's funny, when you talk to the Conservative members of Parliament one-on-one, I think they're open to the idea. But my hope is, especially when confronted with the numbers of Canadians who have lost their lives, and we're talking Canadians of all backgrounds and of all political parties, I really do hope we're able to get past the politics of it and follow the evidence." And the good news is here, he's right. There is evidence that you can point to, and it's almost all coming from Portugal, where it's been just a tremendous success. There are very detailed articles online about Portugal and about how it's way safer to buy drugs in Portugal. The overdoses are way down, like dramatically down. Like within a matter of like a year or so afterwards, the amount of overdosing, I think, dropped by like 40%. In Portugal, the amount of addicts that are seeking help increased because they're not afraid.
People do things when you don't threaten to kill them and lock them in the cage when they try to get help.
Yeah, and there's evidence coming out of the rest of the world in that everywhere there has been a liberalization of the drug laws, things are getting better. The more liberalization, the better they get, it seems.
And look, like drugs are incredibly harmful, or at least, recreational and addictive drugs are incredibly harmful. That's not in dispute as far as I'm concerned. It's just that the drug war is worse.
Yep.
So if your options are recreational drug use of people that you can choose not to associate with, in theory, depending on what the laws are, or the drug war...
Right.
I mean, those
forced.
are your options. It's not drugs or no drugs. That's not the options on the table.
Yeah, and if you're conservative and you don't understand it, pretend it's an AR-15. If you're liberal and you don't understand it, pretend it's an abortion. Okay?
Yes.
Both of you understand the argument. You just don't use it widely enough.
Yeah, you're absolutely right about that. If more people were able to actually see that, prohibition doesn't work no matter what the thing is, whether it's guns, alcohol, drugs, gambling, prostitution, or whatever it is that's prohibited, it always goes underground. It becomes more dangerous to sell. It becomes more dangerous to use, and that's what we can stop.
Unban all the things.
Indeed. The toll-free number here tonight, 855-450-FREE. And even though it's very illegal, apparently professionals are doing LSD microdosing, and it's back in the news. We'll tell you about that coming up here, and you can share your thoughts on Free Talk Live.
Frustrated trying to get business capital? Want to take the slow process and rejection out of the equation? GCNLoans.com removes the slow, irritating approval process. Instead, get quick, simple funding. Powered by David Allen Capital, 80% of our pre-qualified clients are approved in days. Pre-qualify at GCNLoans.com and get your money this week. It's that easy. GCNLoans.com. That's GCNLoans.com.
Fully cooked, ready-to-eat bacon. I'm talking thick, meaty, center-cut presidential bacon. Savory and delicious. I buy some, I use some, I store some. Awesome. No refrigeration needed with a 10-year shelf life. NASA pack technology. Bacon. Fully cooked, fully hydrated, ready to eat right from the packed bacon or warm and served. Life-saving, ready-to-eat bacon. 10-year shelf life bacon. Ships free at fullycookedbacon.com. Fullycookedbacon.com.
The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com.
This Your Family Today tip is brought to you by Nesquik. Try Nesquik 4-packs, perfect for lunches and great for kids on the go. Look for it in the juice aisle. Snack time is a great chance to sneak extra calcium into your child's diet without making him feel like he's eating something he doesn't want. Serve up dairy-rich foods like smoothies, flavored milk, frozen yogurt, and string cheese. He'll love the treat, and you'll love knowing how good it is for him. For more tips like these, visit us at parenthood.com/yourfamilytoday.
So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agrist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agrist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any skullduggery. So go with AgristHosting.com. Have a WordPress or blog site, but you're not satisfied with performance or uptime? Or just want raw hosting? Want to pay with Bitcoin? Agrist Hosting specializes in high-performance hosting with personalized service. Go to AgristHosting.com and click on the button that says Get Hosted. That's AgristHosting.com.
Join the LRN.FM Discord for live chat 24/7 at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. You dial toll-free, bring up anything that you want. Take control of the airwaves here. The number 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450 3733. We've got Skype. Head over to Head over to freetalklive.com. Enjoy the features there. The Skype username, should you wish to Skype in, is lrn.fm. You do need to send a contact request first if you've never done that before, and then once you do that, we'll approve you and you'll be good to go from that point forward. Also, you can call us on the Discord on-air call-in line room, which is available to you right now at discord.lrn.fm. And for those that don't know, the Discord is a chat server service where you can actually get an app for whatever phone or operating system you prefer, and then you can log into it, and there's different chat rooms. So there's one for Free Talk Live that tends to be pretty busy during our live show hours, and then there's other ones that are there for different topics like gaming or cryptocurrency or Forkfest, which we'll talk about coming up here in a little bit. But it's a way for people to chat in either voice chat or text chat with other liberty-minded people and some not-so-liberty-minded people. There's a few anti-liberty people in there, from what I understand. So we don't have any kind of purity test to get onto the server. Just go and enjoy over at discord.lrn.fm. Joining you in the studio tonight, it's Ian.
Melanie.
And Rich Paul.
We're talking about drug decriminalization, and it's probably a ways off before we see any kind of LSD decriminalization in the United States.
Well, no, because that's useful.
What?
LSD.
Well, it can be useful. For
well,
sure.
right, yeah. So every drug that has a use doesn't mean that if you're using it, you're not just using it recreationally. But
right, and in this case, the news, it's in the news again, and this isn't the first time that recent years have held stories like this, but it's been a little while since I've seen them popping up, and this is the Daily Star in the UK reporting that LSD is making a comeback as professionals are now admitting to dropping acid before work. Eating tiny amounts of psychedelics like LSD can improve performance in the office and on the track, experts have shockingly claimed. With their power to melt minds, psychedelics have a fearsome reputation. But a growing consensus of professionals and athletes believe taking smaller and smarter doses of psychedelics can improve performance both in the office and on the track. From heightening creativity and focus at work to improving PBs. I don't know what that stands for. It might be some kind of British slang. Improving PBs and enhancing endurance, psychedelics' positive potential is gaining acceptance. Hallucinogenic drugs have suffered from a stigma ever since the 1960s, when LSD advocate Timothy Leary popularized it as a recreational substance, with the resulting dangerous doses and bad trips making headlines. But recent studies are showing psychedelics' enormous potential in treating a wide range of mental health disorders, such as depression, addiction, and post-traumatic stress disorder. And we've been reporting on some of these things over the years here on Free Talk Live, and not just about LSD, but about MDMA, about psychedelic mushrooms. These are drugs that are very, very powerful. They are they can cause a very important experience in somebody's life, and when done in the right mindset, in the right setting, maybe with a therapy person, a doctor of some sort who's there with you to help guide you through it, it can be very, very helpful for people with, like they're talking about, PTSD. And as the drug's benefits are better understood, an alternative method of ingestion is being explored called microdosing. This consists of consuming only about 1/10 of a recreational dose, which would usually run you. So the recreational dose typically is like 100 to 200 micrograms. But they're saying here, 10 to 20 micrograms is about what people are talking about when they're talking about these microdoses. So it's usually not enough to cause a visual hallucination, but they say that it reportedly heightens alertness, energy, and creativity. David Nutt, who is a professor of neuropsychopharmacology at the Imperial College and chair of drugsscience.org.uk, has 40 years of experience in working in the sector. He says, quote, people began experimenting with microdosing in Silicon Valley around 20 years ago. He says, we're not sure if microdosing does present any danger to mental health, but then again, we don't really know if regular use is safe either. And part of the reason they don't know these things is because it's been illegal to experiment with these drugs.
Yep.
Because they are outlawed in places like the United States and the United Kingdom, it also means that doing scientific experiments is also outlawed in those places. And so, therefore, it is near to impossible to actually gather useful information about the kinds of things that these drugs can actually help with. We've started to see changes in that area thanks to MAPS, the multidisciplinary something for psychedelic studies association, I think, for psychedelic studies, who has somehow managed to actually get permission from the DEA and the FDA to do real scientific studies, small scale, like not a lot of numbers of people being involved in the studies. So
nothing that could be used as research criteria.
Well, I mean, you can use a small study for research. It's just the conclusions aren't quite as high quality.
Well,
they're using them to actually
level of certainty.
So if that's all that's available, and if all that's available because the government is restricting it is a bunch of studies of 5 people, then to me that information is valuable, but that does not change the fact that it is not scientifically,
it's not statistically significant.
Relevant.
Yeah, I think
data.
they're doing. I know that the MDMA and no, it was mushrooms and cigarette smoking was 50 people.
Yeah, they're not
study,
5. I've seen dozen or more in some of these small studies. So
that's
5
still
to 50
incredibly
it's not
tiny
amounts
yet.
Yeah, you'd be surprised how small the test groups are for pharmaceutical groups. Pharmaceutical studies.
Yeah.
I think standard is 200 to 400 people. Those are
that's still kind of small, but that's
10 times more than what you might be getting in one of these studies. But what they're using them for, Melanie, is they're using them as a basis to approve larger studies. So last we reported, and I don't remember which drug it was, but MAPS had gotten an approval for a larger scale study now for, I think it might have been MDMA. But again, if you know more, please call in to correct us here at 855-450 free like freedom. So I don't know how they've been getting it through the DEA and the FDA, but I guess money greases the rails of politics, and they've gotten some donations. So,
and also I think the changes are slowly drifting through the various levels of government, where people are not even the drug war hawks are not necessarily as serious as they were in the 80s.
You think so? I mean, certainly they hopefully are going to be leaving the marijuana states alone. I mean, they seem to have backed off on that somewhat, but I don't know if they're not as hawkish on the other things. I'm not sure.
Well, there are certainly some who are not, but there seems to be some level of back off. And the evidence for that is that we are seeing things like studies coming out of Johns Hopkins, studies coming out of MAP. And, now that I think of it, that mushroom study I was talking about came out of John Hopkins,
was it?
Not MAP. So forget I said that.
It might have been MAPS working with Johns Hopkins. Who knows? But
could be.
But either way, I agree with you. Certainly, once the floodgates start to open up a little bit more, then it'll be harder to put it all back in, right? Like it'll be harder to say, "Oh, these studies didn't happen." I mean, they happened.
I don't think they can put Humpty Dumpty back together again.
Well, they don't need to. They can just say it's illegal.
The drug war. It's just
they haven't
not
figured it
over
out yet.
Right. Yeah. It's dead. It's too stupid to fall down.
So back to the story here. David Nutt, and for those that don't recall that name, he used to be a drug warrior in the UK, and he changed sides once he actually looked at the evidence, and he's now one of the main voices in the UK against the war on drugs. He says it certainly warrants a lot more research, but the illegal controlled status of psychedelics unfortunately means to do so is very difficult and expensive. That is, to research it. He says, my own view is that all drugs should be decriminalized for personal use. He said further, the little research that has been done shows psychedelics and microdosing in particular present less harm to both users and others than almost any other drug, especially alcohol. And he's talking about a chart that he actually released showing the relative harm of all drugs compared to one another. And alcohol and heroin were the top 2 most damaging. And psychedelics are way down the list. More coming up.
I've said it many times on air, and I'll say it here. The New Hampshire Liberty Alliance is one of the most important organizations for freedom in the world. New Hampshire is ground zero for freedom, and the NHLA is the best organization at promoting effective liberty activism. This ad is sponsored by Free Talk Live, and I, Mark Edge, am a lifetime member because I believe in the NHLA. Please check them out at nhliberty.org. Not everyone can move right now, but you can support the cause. Donate top cryptocurrencies or old-fashioned U.S. dollars, nhliberty.org. Visit their website and see what they're all about. nhliberty.org.
The Bitcoin.com wallet is a simple and powerful, full-featured wallet. that allows you to send and receive Bitcoin Cash and Bitcoin Core with anyone, anywhere in the world. It supports both single and multi-signature wallets and is available in multiple languages. The Bitcoin.com wallet is available on Windows, Linux, Mac, Android, and iOS devices. Learn more at wallet.bitcoin.com.
Face it, today's electric power grid is more vulnerable than ever. From natural disasters to EMP attacks and hacking, the grid could be crippled for days or even decades in the most dire scenarios. Visit quantumharvest.net to see our built-to-last EMP-protected solar power systems. While millions suffer, you'll have vital power for water pumps, refrigeration, and sanitation. Now that's peace of mind. EMP-protected solar power systems for every need and budget. See our full range at quantumharvest.net.
You have been lied to, generation after generation, time after time after time.
If you follow the money, then you understand why America's in the condition it's in.
You know, you created the Federal Reserve in 1913 through lies. You create 9/11. Through 9/11, you're fighting a war on terror, and now all of a sudden you go into Iraq, which was another lie.
This book will open people's eyes. Pre-order now at killingunclesambook.com. killingunclesambook.com.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.fm in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.fm. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
What do you shop for that you could otherwise buy at Amazon? Pretty much everything, right? Amazon has competitive pricing and they deliver, and that's a big plus. If you could plan ahead in your shopping, would you be interested in saving up to 33%? There's a catch. You have to do your shopping in Bitcoin. But imagine those savings. It's like a huge raise. All you have to do is go to saveitpurse.com. We've saved thousands, and you can too. Plan ahead and save. Saveitpurse.com.
You're listening to the best liberty-oriented audio streamed around the clock, on the air, and online. This is the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
This is Free Talk Live. You can bring up whatever you want here. We're talking about microdosing. It's back in the news again with professionals actually coming out and admitting that they've used LSD in small doses, usually about 1/10 of what one would consider a recreational dose, so maybe 10 to 20. Is it nanograms? It's very, very small amount. Micrograms, that's right. Is micro smaller than the nano?
I'm not sure if it's smaller than nano, but I know it's the smallest dosing unit for drugs.
Okay.
Usually it's milligrams, and
This
a
would be
milligram is, I believe, 1,000 micrograms.
Thank you for that. So we'll tell you more about the microdosing phenomenon that some say is helping them at the office here in a little bit. With you in the studio tonight, by the way, it's Ian.
Melanie.
And Rich Paul.
And also, don't forget, if you want to go and help Free Talk Live out, one of the ways you can do that is by joining our email list. You can sign up for that easily by going to freetalklive.com, and you will find the list sign up there. It's right there toward the top of the page. You just pop in your email address, and you will be on the list. It is very easy to do. And we appreciate it. It's a great way for you to kind of keep in touch with Free Talk Live, where we'll send you usually once a week the latest news about Free Talk Live, and also LRN.FM, which is the Liberty Radio Network. The latest email I sent over the weekend was actually all about LRN and several new programs that we've added to the lineup over there. So again, you'll find out the latest if you're on the email list over at freetalklive.com. Again, the sign up there is toward the top of the page. As we continue here, we'll, of course, take your calls about what you want. Let's go to Tom. He's in Hudson, New Hampshire. You're on Free Talk Live. Hello, Tom.
Yeah, it's about a former Portuguese colony, by the way. And incidentally, to answer your question, a microgram is 1/1,000,000th of a gram, and a nanogram is 1,000th of one of those.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So you either go down milli, micro, nano, pico, femto, atto,
Got it.
and so on. So anyway, that's for people who know the metric system, of course.
Yep.
Anyway, back in the 15th century, the Portuguese colonized these islands, the São Tomé e Príncipe, St. Thomas and Prince Islands off the coast of Africa at the equator.
Okay.
And they were having a good time growing sugar and everything until 1641, when the Dutch came with their humongous boats and their navy and their attack. And you know how governments are when they want something, and they just go.
They take it by force.
We're taking over.
Yep.
We're taking over, and this is all ours, and you guys can get out of here, and this is our place now. And then, so they took over, and then as time went by, they said, these mosquitoes are really bad. I don't know how these people could stand this place. This is so hot and so humid, and the mosquitoes are terrible. Hey, Portugal, if you want these islands back, you can have them. 2 years. They didn't last 2 years. They took over, and then they decided they didn't want it. And they fight this nasty war, and they took over, and
really?
They said they didn't want it, so they left. Oh, yeah. Check that one out.
Hey, thanks for the recommended story. I appreciate hearing from you. That's Tom in New Hampshire. Did not know that one. You can...
No, I didn't either.
I guess it's he brought it up since we were talking about Portugal earlier with the drug decriminalization across the board there being incredibly successful. So back to the story here out of the Daily Star in the UK, talking about professionals coming out and admitting to using LSD because they say, and at about a tenth of the recreational dose, what's called microdosing. So they're not getting hallucinations out of it. They're just getting what they say is heightened alertness, energy, and even creativity. One of the experts here, David Nutt, the professor of neuropsychopharmacology at the Imperial College in the UK, says people actually started doing this, experimenting in Silicon Valley around 20 years ago. He says he wants to see all drugs decriminalized for personal use, and says further that the little research that has been done shows psychedelics and microdosing in particular present less harm to both users and others than almost any other drug, especially alcohol, he said. Daily Star Online also spoke exclusively with successful copywriter Rob, age 36, who is a microdoser and who believes that psychedelics, if used responsibly, have the potential to enhance creativity. He said, and again, he didn't want his last name used for obvious reasons, quote, "When I get the dose right, the effects are very subtle, yet very noticeable. My job is writing, and I spend a lot of time procrastinating and thinking of angles for what I'm going to write. It can take a long time to come up with a creative theme for an article or a nice metaphor or turn of phrase. With microdosing, I feel like I want to get down to the challenge of writing right away," he said. "Concentration is improved. The work ethic feels strong. You're engaged with what you're doing, and you feel like you're actually using your brain rather than just going through the motions of your job." Rich, I mean, you're nodding your head. Do you feel like this is, you're an experienced psychonaut. Have you ever done any experimenting with microdosing?
Most of what I've done has been macrodosing. I'll have to admit that. Although I certainly do find that during the coming down period of a trip, especially, there's something that people look for, which is a moment of clarity. That one comes to, usually regarding some problem or issue that you've been having. But So it may well be that they're trying to reach that from the other side.
Right, as the maximum experience that they encounter.
Exactly. They're just seeking clarity, which is the larger doses, you're also generally looking to stir up the subconscious and see what sort of problems there are that need to be dealt with.
Yeah, I think this is interesting, especially because it flies in the face of the kind of the typical picture of the drug user, right? Like, if you believe the propaganda, they would have you believe that drug users are a bunch of shiftless losers who, can never accomplish anything. And the neat thing about the microdosing story is it says the opposite. It says that the people who are doing the microdosing feel as though they're getting more accomplished. They feel as though they are more able to focus on the things that they need to accomplish for their daily work rather than being more lazy or something like that. So it just throws that back in the prohibitionist face and says, well, no, actually the opposite at smaller doses is true. Maybe it is true that, if you're getting too high, you might not be able to accomplish anything.
Well, right, yeah, dose is a pretty big thing in most drugs. So if you take one Advil, that might help your headache go away. If you take... so we're talking about 10 times. We're talking about 10 times the dose, between 10 micrograms and 100 micrograms. If you take 10 Advil, you're gonna have a problem.
Yeah, for sure.
So,
or alcohol,
Yeah.
What psychonauts are doing is hacking themselves, and when you hack something, there is always a danger that you will break it. But there's also a possibility that you will improve it or you will learn something new.
And so I can't really say that I think that doing LSD daily is a good plan, but I also know that it hasn't been studied by doctors. So, there's no way that doing LSD every day is good for you, but that shouldn't even ever be the question unless you were a doctor advising someone.
Is it bad to do caffeine every day?
I know a lot of people who it doesn't seem to phase. I know it didn't work for me.
Well, if you multiply now imagine multiplying the dose of caffeine by 10. It would almost certainly be a bad idea to do that.
Oh yeah, and I think that a lot of people do too much caffeine too. I don't in any way favor criminalizing it, obviously, but I think a lot of people abuse caffeine. Some of them have to, though, so that gets weird, but...
Well, they have to because they're addicted to it.
Well, they have to because they have a job that requires them to be awake for 18 hours a day.
Well, good point. Different requirements.
So, look, I don't know. I think this would be something that would be really interesting to have studied more often. I don't know if it is necessarily that dangerous to do a small amount every single day. I don't know. I think that's an interesting question.
Anything that can help you as much as LSD can, the reason why something can help you a lot is because it's very powerful. So if it's powerful enough to help you, it's powerful enough to mess you up.
Well, there's no doubt. I mean, you definitely need to respect LSD or any other psychedelic. It can be very, very profound in negative and positive ways.
And when you think about the dose, this is a very small dose. Now, one hit, as we've said, or one dose of LSD is about 100 micrograms. But I took 150 hits of LSD once. I don't recommend this.
Wait.
Never. Kids, don't try this at home.
Was this an accident? You took 150 hits?
I can't believe I'm going to tell this story on the radio. Okay. This is what happened. I'm
That's
16
like a whole
years
sheet,
old.
Right? Like 150 is like a whole sheet of
acid. It's a sheet and a half.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I'll tell the story.
How are you alive? That sounds horrible.
Gloriously alive.
All right, you said you were a teenager?
Yeah,
we're going to get into it.
I was 16.
We'll find out how this happened here. The toll-free number is 855-450, free like freedom, 855-450-3733. That's on the way here on Free Talk Live. Hour 3 is next.
It's about time something new came along for better selling and buying online. And I found it.
What now, Marge?
It's buysellmakeoffer.com.
Never heard of it.
It's a brand new company. That's why you've never heard of it. It's the newest and best way to sell any products online. I did all the research.
Sell my car?
Yes.
Our home?
Yep.
My golf bag?
Your golf clubs. All of them.
How about your purse collection hoard?
Hey, now.
You said any product.
Right. I did. We get 30 days free.
Really?
Packages starting from only $9.95. And buysellmakeoffer.com will never charge item fees ever. Never. And this is cool. Listen to this. You can even use Skype or video to show your items.
That's cool.
Yes. All we have to do is go to the website, sign up, and then load our stuff to sell. I love this site.
Buysellmakeoffer.com.
Buysellmakeoffer.com. You got it?
Buysellmakeoffer.com.
Buysellmakeoffer.com. Better selling, better buying.
Looking for a great real estate investment? Consider New Hampshire, which is ground zero for the Liberty Movement. Your first call should be to Mark Worden from Porcupine Real Estate. He's more than just a real estate agent. He's your New Hampshire concierge. Where are the best places to live? Do you want farm, city, the burbs, or forest? Do you want a duplex or multifamily building so that renters pay your mortgage? There are homes in all price ranges in New Hampshire, and Mark can help with financing too. Invest in Liberty and property. Mark Worden can help.
PorcupineRealEstate.com.
There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Monday, April 16th, 2018. Silver is trading at $16.67 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,347 per ounce. Zen Cash is trading at $34, and the average price of Bitcoin is $8,129. Antiwar.com reports U.S. Ambassador to the United Nations Nikki Haley announced on Sunday that the U.S. troops in Syria will not be leaving the country until all their military goals are accomplished. Those goals no longer seem to begin and end with the Islamic State. Haley says the U.S. military priority in Syria is to ensure that Iran does not take over the country, suggesting U.S. troops could be a deterrent to that. There's little doubt Syrian President Bashar al-Assad, an Iranian ally, will survive this war. However, Haley ruled out any direct talks with Assad. She argued Assad isn't worthy of talks. That's a problem if President Trump's goal of leaving Syria is to ever be realized. The administration are setting out a goal that would need to be negotiated and ruling out negotiation. The hope would be a sudden shift toward diplomacy, as happened with North Korea. The entire cabinet favored keeping U.S. troops in Syria in an open-ended way, and France's government echoes that sentiment. French President Emmanuel Macron on Sunday even claimed credit for convincing Trump to keep troops in Syria. British Prime Minister Theresa May has tried to spin the strikes in Syria as being about Russia. This shows that Syria's attackers are not united on intents and goals. Macron added that the U.S. strikes would show Russia that the West is not weak. Are you an advocate for free market money? Do you promote Bitcoin as an alternative in a fiat-centric world? Then you need Spendabit in your arsenal, the search engine for things you can buy with Bitcoin. Spendabit aggregates millions of products from thousands of Bitcoin-enabled merchants. Keep your money in the free economy. Visit spendabit.co today. Bitcoin merchants, ask about our merchant suite to reach even more customers. Spendabit.co. UPI reports a Michigan man was arrested Friday after he shot at a teenager who stopped at his house to ask for directions. The Detroit News reported Jeffrey Ziegler was charged with assault with intent to murder and possession of a firearm and the commission of a felony. Before pleading not guilty, he said, "There's a lot more to this story that will come out." 14-year-old Brennan Walker told local media he overslept Thursday morning and missed his bus to school. He then attempted to walk to the bus route from memory but got lost and stopped at Ziegler's house to ask for directions. Walker says, "I got to the house and I knocked on the lady's door. Then she started yelling at me and she was like, 'Why are you trying to break into my house?' And I was trying to explain to her that I was trying to get directions to Rochester High School. And she kept yelling at me. The guy came downstairs. Then he grabbed his gun and I saw it and started to run. And that's when I heard the gunshot." Walker fled the house and hid until police arrived. Walker's mother, Lisa Wright, who was at work during the time of the incident, said she was able to review security footage taken at Ziegler's house and heard his wife say, "Why did these people people choose my house. Oakland County Sheriff Mayor Michael Bouchard said in a statement that there is no world where this is acceptable, adding, "I feel so badly for this mom and young man and am incredibly angry at this disturbing event in our county, state, and country." Ziegler was given a $50,000 bond and was ordered to surrender all firearms to the Oakland County Sheriff's Department, not use alcohol or controlled substances, agree to random drug testing, and attend mental health counseling twice per week. For over 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals. Gold, silver, platinum, and palladium. They don't feed the banks. They're Bitcoin preferred and have removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts Brokerage today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. Reuters reports nearly 207 million eggs from a farm in North Carolina are being recalled from 9 U.S. states after 22 people fell ill, according to the Federal Food and Drug Administration. The Food Safety News website reported it's the largest recall of eggs in the United States since 2010. The eggs may have been contaminated with salmonella, an organism which can cause serious and sometimes fatal infections in young children, frail or elderly people, and others with weakened immune systems. The eggs were recalled by producer Rose Acre Farms through an abundance of caution. The eggs reached consumers in Florida, New York, Pennsylvania, North Carolina, New Jersey, Virginia, Colorado, South Carolina, and West Virginia. This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
An alarming UN report on magical realism released this week warns of increased incidences of women's tears flooding the entire world. A UN committee linked the catastrophic phenomena to matronly widows, commonly named Tita and Esmeralda, who wept for up to 90 days on end about their estranged lovers.
Just consider how detrimental it is to a nation's workforces to have thousands of its plantation overseers simply disappear one night into the midsummer fog, only to return decades later without having aged a single day. Put simply, if such phenomena are not immediately halted, the effects on the international community will be catastrophic.
The nation's limo drivers spent a magical prom night playing scratch-off tickets in the parking lot this week. According to sources, chauffeurs nationwide began their enchanting evening by cramming swank magazines into their glove compartments before dropping off their students at a school gym, working through a stunning assortment of lotto cards, and dining upon a wide range of microwave-heated taquitos from a nearby 7-Eleven.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
It is Free Talk Live, and you can bring up whatever you want. Just dial in toll free. Take control of the airwaves here. Our number is 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We do have Skype as well. Skype username is LRN.FM. And also, we've got the Discord on-air call-in line room where you can jump in there. It will put you on the air, and it'll sound almost like you're sitting here in the studio with us. And the us in the studio is Ian.
Melanie.
And Rich.
We've been discussing LSD microdosing. It is back in the news. And as you were saying, Rich, it's great to see actual news coverage of this phenomenon. The idea that professionals are now admitting that they are, well, they're not publicly coming out like the guy they interview here. He's only given his first name, which may not be his real first name. But they've got news media talking to real professionals who go to work every single day who are saying things like they believe that a small dose of LSD, a microdose as they call it, maybe about a tenth of a normal recreational dose, helps them. He says it normally might take him, he's a writer, it normally might take him a while to come up with a creative theme or a nice metaphor or a turn of phrase. But with microdosing, he says, I feel like I get down, or I want to get down to the challenge of writing right away rather than procrastinating for most of the morning or whatever. He wants to get started. He says concentration is improved, the work ethic feels strong, you're engaged with what you're doing, and you feel like you're actually using your brain rather than just going through the motions of your job. So Rob is forced to buy his supply. By the way, this is a story from the Daily Star in the UK. He's forced to buy his supply from the dark web. He says it's not ideal because you don't know if your money is going to people who are also involved with incredibly evil stuff. He says that's a direct consequence of drug policy, I'm afraid. If you treat all drugs as equally harmful, equally abused, and with equal possibilities of addiction, then the supply ends up in the hands of criminals.
That's also true of white market drugs. If you go to Walgreens and you have a script for antibiotics and you give Walgreens money, Walgreens also sells, opiates and some pretty, messed up stuff. And they're a corporation, so they're probably doing evil things on the side. They're probably engaged in eminent domain or something like that.
Although an opiate, like a drug, is not an inherently bad thing.
That's
there
true.
are excellent reasons for taking opiates. For example, a broken leg.
Yep.
Surgery. There are good reasons for it to exist.
Yeah, that's true of all. Cocaine. That's true of all kinds of things.
Well, they also sell cigarettes. Like, you're not going to find a supplier of anything, not just a supplier, the term people usually use supplier, that is completely how you want them to be morally clean. And that's not unique to the black market.
Yeah, well, think how hard it is for you not to do the things you disapprove of, much less or do business with people who do the things you disagree with, and then magnify that by trying to run a multinational corporation. It really can't be done.
The copywriter, however, this is again the professional that they interviewed, won't necessarily recommend microdosing to others. He says, quote, "The human brain should be a powerful enough tool for its owner. Taking performance-enhancing drugs isn't really what the human condition is about, is it? It's to make the best out of what you've got, to accept your limitations, and where possible to overcome them using your own willpower and mental resources." And so you had kind of touched on the idea that maybe it's not a good idea to do this every single day, Melanie. And I think it would be interesting to have a long-term study, because we don't have that right now. There's
especially if there's people who are doing it anyway. And so he's saying things like, I feel like I get more done. I never really rely on that, because that can be misleading.
Sure.
So he might feel like, I don't doubt that he feels like he gets more done. If he didn't, he probably would stop doing the LSD.
Right.
That doesn't mean he's actually getting more done.
I tend to agree, and I've always wondered this about, people who have caffeine addictions, is they feel as though, like you accepted earlier, the idea that people with, using caffeine, that it's good for them, that it's useful for them. But
I don't know that anybody still thinks it's good for them.
Yeah,
it's useful.
Well, it is if your situation demands that you do things that a human cannot do. So you are being forced to alter yourself versus starve to death. Caffeine is the preferable option. If that's your scenario, that doesn't mean that caffeine is healthy in any way.
Well, some people seem to use it as a crutch rather than a performance enhancer. I think they start using it as a performance enhancer because initially it feels as though you're getting.
I think they start
rush.
using it because they have to stay up for 20 hours a day.
Well, whatever their reason is, some people just use it because they think it gets them up earlier or faster in the morning or whatever, not necessarily because they have to be working 20 hours in a day, just because they believe that it provides a benefit. But I question whether that benefit is still provided once the person becomes addicted to the product.
No, it's not. That's like almost the definition of an addiction.
Right. I think that at that point they're just feeding their addiction, and they tell themselves a story about how they, love caffeine and that they need to have it. In order to get up in the morning or whatever, and they might need to have it to get up in the morning because it's become a habit.
A larger dose is required to achieve the same effect
because of tolerance.
Is because of tolerance.
Is caffeine build tolerance?
I've met plenty of people who have told me that basically they plateau and their behavior seems to exhibit that. They might just not be addicted to caffeine.
When you say they plateau, what do you mean?
So usually when you do a drug, you keep having to do more and more of it to get the same effects, but then you get the negative side effects of doing actually that dose that you're doing.
Yeah.
But I have met people who they take a cup of coffee or two and it's the same strength, and they've been taking that same 1 or 2 cups of coffee for the past 10 years and it's never gone up.
Yeah.
So those people do exist. Maybe they're some, rare genetically, and they are not addicted to caffeine. Maybe something else is going. I don't know.
Just because you're not addicted doesn't mean, or just because you're only taking the same dose every day doesn't mean you aren't suffering from addiction.
Well,
right?
Well,
if they're
then
showing
again,
no
taking
effects
something
of
daily
addiction,
doesn't necessarily
mean you're
imply
addicted.
that you are addicted.
So if they're
That's
showing
true.
no effects of addiction, I have no reason to believe that they're addicted. Whereas somebody who gets headaches when they don't drink caffeine fast enough or they keep having to drink more, those are side effects of addiction.
That's correct.
So I can say that person
You
is
don't think a
addicted.
person who drinks 2 cups of coffee in the morning won't get a headache if they cut it out?
I don't.
I think some of them may
don't.
and some
I
of them
think
may
some
not.
of them don't.
Mhm.
Just because something's highly addictive does not mean that every single person is addicted to it.
But remember that tolerance is part of the addiction, or part of the definition of addiction. That's one of the big things that they ask you, especially about alcohol, is do you have to drink more to get the same effect? And if your use is continually sloping upward, that's a
definitely
big
a sign of
of an addiction.
For sure. It's not only office workers who are experimenting with these secret ingredients. Athletes are also reporting noticeable benefits, and converts are wildly enthusiastic. This is James Orrock writing in the Bulletin for the Multidisciplinary Association for Psychedelic Studies, which is MAPS, as we mentioned earlier. Quote, LSD can increase your reflex time to lightning speed, improve your balance to the point of perfection, increase your concentration, and make you impervious to weakness or pain, said extreme athlete James Orrock in the Bulletin. So, I mean, that sounds, too good to be true. I'm sure there are some negative sides to this microdosing, but so far the press coverage has been largely positive of the phenomenon. And so I think it's interesting. I'm glad to see that people are talking about it. I'm glad to see that it's in the news, because these are things that deserve discussion. They deserve to be openly talked about. And I guarantee you most of talk radio isn't talking about this.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And I have definitely found the stamina increase from taking LSD. I mean, when I was younger, I used to drop a couple of hits.
Oh, yeah, we got to get to your story.
I would walk back and forth across Ann Arbor, Michigan, which is, 7 or 8 miles, and just not care
No big deal.
how far I was walking.
Let's get to your story, because we teased that before, and I totally spaced it here. So 150 hits. You had claimed that you took 150 hits. We're going to interrupt the story, of course, here again, but get it started for us, Rich.
Okay, well, it was circa 1986, and I had hitchhiked.
How old were you?
15 or 16,
Okay.
or probably 16 or 17. But I'd hitchhiked from Ann Arbor, Michigan to Akron, Ohio to see the Grateful Dead, Bob Dylan, and Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers at the Rubber Bowl.
Grateful Dead sounds like a good concert to score some LSD at, possibly.
Exactly what I was thinking.
So we'll find out what happened here in a little bit. The toll-free number, 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733. What happened when Rich Paul took 150 doses? Coming up.
From the third letter of Captain Mark. The Crown's observation conditions us to be dishonest with ourselves. Therefore, constant surveillance produces a society of constant deception. Honest communication is the seed of civilized conduct. To deny us this seed is to deny us its fruits. But the Crown's primary objective is to stifle free thought itself, to make its subjects incapable of dissent. Seasoned pirates have always encrypted messages and codes and ciphers, so intercepted transmissions were incomprehensible. But today, the Crown possesses advanced tools of pattern recognition that document, profile, and predict our every move. Today, piracy requires hailing frequencies completely invisible to the Crown. We are tired of poltergeists in the static. Looking for a community of like-minded scoundrels, or just want some swag to let the Crown know what you think of it? Join the conversation at pirateswithoutborders.com.
The Bitcoin.com wallet is a simple and powerful, full-featured wallet that allows you to send and receive Bitcoin Cash and Bitcoin Core with anyone, anywhere in the world. It supports both single and multi-signature wallets and is available in multiple languages. Use the Bitcoin.com wallet to buy, send, store, and receive both Bitcoin Cash and Bitcoin Core. Learn more at wallet.bitcoin.com.
Cryptocurrencies are successful because of good technology. The liberty-loving voluntarists who founded Zencash in 2017 took the best tech, like zero-knowledge anonymity and decentralized autonomous organizations, and are creating a secure platform for money, messages, and media that can be sent to anyone, anywhere in the world. Zencash is a cryptocurrency dedicated to peace, anonymity, and decentralization. Find out more at zencash.com. That's zencash.com.
With each successive bite failing to relieve his anxieties, increasingly worried man Dylan Hawks told reporters today that he has yet to come across any trace of guacamole in his burrito, despite having specifically requested it when ordering.
No, there definitely wasn't any guac there. Cheese, beans, chorizo. Oh man, I hope they didn't forget.
Hawks has continued to maintain hope that there may still be an undiscovered sliver of avocado somewhere in his tortilla. However, with his fears for the meal mounting, Hawks has reportedly considered asking the cashier for a refund at various points while eating the burrito.
The thing is, if you had a burrito and it was missing cheese, you might not notice it because there's sour cream, but guacamole is completely different. I just don't know how I wouldn't have tasted it by now. Christ, I'm almost done with this thing.
This is the Onion News Network.
LRN.FM now has a Discord. Discord is a free text and voice chat platform, and we now have our own server with a bunch of channels at discord.lrn.fm. You can join other listeners as they chat about various things during our live shows, or anytime, day or night. Discord software is available cross-platform, so you can have it on whatever device you want and take your chats anywhere. Join our Discord at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm. Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you're helping the state. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at bitcoin.com. That's bitcoin.com.
Do you love Twitter? Make sure you favorite the LRN.FM Twitter account so you can receive our tweets at twitter.lrn.fm. That's twitter.lrn.fm.
It is Free Talk Live. You can dial in toll-free to bring up whatever's on your mind. Our toll-free number is 855-450, free like freedom. 855-450-3733. With you tonight, it's Ian.
Melanie.
And Rich Paul.
You can Skype in at Skype username LRN.FM. You can also get on our on-air call-in line chat room on the Discord, which is where we've got our next caller at. Which we're going to get to here, but I want to make sure you have a chance to tell your story, Rich, because I don't want to forget about it again, given that we're already in the third hour of the show here, so I don't want to miss out on Rich Paul taking 150 doses of LSD. That's not something you do on accident, ever.
It's not. It's certainly not something I recommend that you do on purpose.
No, absolutely not.
So here's what happened.
Just by comparison, I've never taken more than one hit of LSD at a time.
Yeah. Most people never take more than 10. Most people never take more than 1 or 2.
Right.
The extremists mostly don't take more than 10.
Right.
What happened to me is I hitchhiked to this concert
to a Grateful Dead. Bob,
in
who
Ohio.
was it?
It was Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers.
Right.
Was first bill, then Bob Dylan, and then the Grateful Dead.
Okay.
So 2 of those I absolutely love. Bob Dylan, I've got great respect for him as a poet. I'm not a big fan of his voice, but having a chance to see him in concert once was great. But so anyway, I went there, and the other reason that I was going there is I was in the LSD business, and that was the best place to get sheets.
Okay.
So I was buying...
And a sheet is 100 hits.
A sheet is 100 hits.
Right. And then isn't a Bible like... How many sheets is in a Bible?
Would be, I think, 100...
100 sheets?
100 sheets, but that might be a book.
I've heard book too.
It might be that it's sheet, book, and then Bible.
Okay.
Of course, there are many books in the Bible, so that might be another 100.
Okay, gotcha.
But so I got this sheet and a half, and almost...
Was this in the parking lot?
Yeah.
Okay.
Almost immediately sold off half a sheet to somebody else.
Yeah.
and
this is, by the way, a terrible way to buy LSD generally because you never know who you're going to run into. But
well, the thing is, at the Dead shows at the time,
it was pretty reliable.
That was the source of LSD at that time. Most of it was coming out of one house, and it traveled the country on the back of the Grateful Dead tour.
Wow.
And if you wanted to get the best LSD,
that's where you go.
Now, there were charlatans, and you had to get to know people, but you could generally feel people out by seeing how many people they knew and how friendly those people were to them, because if you were a scammer, people didn't want you around. So you buy, and this is always a good idea in the drug business. Don't buy stuff from people who don't have any friends, because there's a reason for this.
You want people with positive recommendations for that person.
Exactly. So anyway, I sold off another half sheet. Or I sold off the half sheet.
Preferably, you should be able to find somebody at the concert who is already tripping on the thing that they purchased from the person, and then
that's
if you
the
trust
other
them.
thing is always buy LSD from somebody who's tripping balls if you're buying it publicly. But so anyway, so I had this. I was going into the concert then. I had 150 hits left. Actually, probably 145 because I think I'd taken 5, and I put the acid in a cloth bag that I was wearing around my neck.
Mm-hmm.
But then as I was going into the concert, they were searching people, so I took the cloth bag off from around my neck, and I put it in my underwear. Well, it was a very hot day. And so basically, I'm sweating. The family jewels are washing themselves. And this is soaking through this cloth bag running down my leg. And LSD, if you don't know, is easily absorbed through the skin, unlike most drugs.
The typical way of dosing on blotter acid is to put it underneath your tongue.
Right.
It's because it's absorbed through the whatever the area is underneath your tongue.
Well, it's absorbed under your tongue, and it is somewhat destroyed by stomach acid when you swallow it. So some of it will be lost in that process.
So you want to generally keep it in your mouth until the paper dissolves, basically, until it's gone completely.
Right. So then I got out in the parking lot. This was after the 3-hour show.
Right, because I was going to say, skin, I'm guessing, wouldn't absorb it as quickly as under the tongue, sublingual or whatever,
not as quickly, and probably not as completely.
Yeah, but it will.
But then when I got out, by the time I got outside, I was tripping balls, and I was so paranoid, and I thought that everybody I saw was the FBI. So I realized, and it's funny that it was specifically the FBI, because it was they who finally did catch up with me in like 2012, 30 some years later. But so I decided that I had to eat the evidence. And I then consumed this ball sweat soaked mess of acid. And I was, after that, I was really high. I mean, to the point where I would be talking.
Get home?
Well, it took me about 2 weeks because I was hitchhiking again. But people would pick me up, and after about 10 minutes, either their head would explode, and I wouldn't be able to hide my reaction to it well enough, and they'd be like, "Oh my!" Or I'd just say something off the wall, and they'd be like, "Oh my!"
This guy's
because
crazy.
when you're tripping, you're trying so hard not to be creepy that you can't help it, because you're watching this like insane movie going on, and you know that you're the only one who can see the movie. So you're trying not to react, but that's very much like trying not to laugh.
Right?
Yeah. And it's wow. Yeah, it was very strange.
How long was it until you went to sleep after that?
The jury's out because
because normally, for listeners that don't know, right?
You don't trip when you're tripping, or you don't sleep when you're tripping, normally.
Right. I mean, getting to sleep at the end of a trip can be a bit of a process. It can be annoying. If you want to sleep, you can't necessarily.
It's not a bad idea to have a light dose of Valium for after tripping. Although I usually don't do that. I just, lay there and think about it till I'm done. But the reason the jury's out on that is I have a memory of waking up in the flower bed of an Italian restaurant somewhere in Ohio with a man who I swear to God was Chef Boyardee kicking my feet and screaming at me in Italian. But I don't know if it was real. I have no idea. This could be a complete hallucination.
Yeah.
So, but Chef, if you were real and you're out there, I'm sorry I slept in your roses. It must have been the roses. And so that's my story. I eventually got back to Ann Arbor after a long time of thinking I was literally never going to come down. And please don't think that this was necessarily fun.
No.
This was terrifying.
This could have been terrifying.
No,
I
that
don't
sounds
recommend
awful.
this
That sounds
to
like
anybody.
some CIA Gitmo stuff.
Yeah, it was. I saw things in the recesses of my mind that most people will never have to deal with.
855, 450, free like freedom if you want to tell your story. That's going to be a tough one to top, though. It's Free Talk Live.
It's a no-brainer. A Big Berkey water filter is the one you need, period. You need a water filter that removes chlorine, fluoride, pharmaceuticals, BPA, and other endocrine disruptors, pesticides, bacteria, viruses, and much more, right? And does it all at only 2 cents per gallon. Get the original and most trusted name in gravity water filtration, Big Berkey. And now GCN listeners receive 5% off ceramic filter systems using code GCN. Call or click 1-877-99-BERKEY or BigBerkeyWaterFilters.com. That's 1-877-99-BERKEY.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Slingbow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of Slingbow, a new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippie! Jesus. On your knees! What's the problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you gotta keep you and your gat intact.
Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom. A film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Vadadi.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com. Makes the perfect gift. Remember, that's gunsandweed.com.
In Survivor Max 2, School Bites, Max must scavenge through a wasteland swarming with the undead. Desperate to find the medicine he needs, he discovers a community of survivors at his former school. Has he finally found the safe haven he's been looking for, or will he discover that school bites? Look for Survivor Max on Facebook, read reviews on Amazon, and read Chapter 1 at survivormax.com.
The 3 most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1, share 1 episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2, buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3, give $5 a month to the AMP program. It's my firm belief that Free Talk Live's AMP program is the best use of your charitable dollar among liberty-oriented organizations. Support all the organizations you love, but make sure you give $5 a month to AMP at amp.freetalklive.com.
The warning signs.
At first, he made me feel special. He promised he'd look after me, provide for my future. He broke every promise he made.
Millions of Americans afflicted.
I was ready to leave, but he told me he'd change. So I gave him another chance. I was such a fool.
The consequences.
Things only got worse. He started making my decisions for me about my job, my kids' education, my money, my safety, my future. He took away my choices, but I kept going back to the same politicians.
The diagnosis? Battered voter syndrome.
I fell for the same old lies. They were just playing with my emotions, telling me what I wanted to hear. That's not right.
If you're tired of the two-party system but want to support a principled Libertarian Party, check out the Libertarian Party of New Hampshire at lpnh.org. That's lpnh.org.
You can put the Liberty Radio Network on the air in your area. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how. Broadcast.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, and you can bring up whatever is on your mind here. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. If you want to tell your drug dose story, you're certainly welcome to do so, although you're going to have a tough time topping Rich Paul with 150, basically accidental dose of 150 hits of
150
LSD.
times the dosage. If you take 150 times the dosage of anything, I don't care if it's water, you're
lucky to come
back.
back.
Die.
Yeah, one thing I should point out, that is absolutely true, and that was kind of how we came to the story in the first place. We were talking about the potential danger of microdosing, and one of the things that indicates to me that LSD is a relatively benign drug is that you actually can do something incredibly stupid like that.
And survive
and,
it.
you know, I laugh about this 30 years later, but I could have, you know, I could have bricked myself, basically.
Well, right, but just because something's not going to
stunt
kill you doesn't mean that it's not bad for you, and it doesn't mean that it's not going to cause permanent damage.
Yeah, and
so taking LSD every day, I still can't be a fan of.
Yeah, I can certainly understand that, and I really don't know what the impact would be. I mean, I know hippies who trip 3 or 4 times a week in full doses. Some of them are very strange.
Yeah.
When I feel like that's not what LSD is for. LSD can help you get over some psychological issues you have. So then if you have psychological issues, that's when you would be taking LSD. Doing that 2 to 3 times a week, I mean, you're not even going to process anything that you're getting from the LSD. You're doing
not even
LSD
coming down.
to be doing LSD.
I generally agree, and there's another issue with LSD, which was one of the things it does is stir up the subconscious. And if there are things buried in there that you have to deal with, then that can be very useful. But after a while, you stop having the epiphanies with each trip, and that's generally when I tell people, well, why don't you give it a rest for a while?
Right. Because then it's just becoming normal. Then you're normalizing it.
Exactly.
Let's bring Lumpy in here. He's on the line. But actually, first, I
love Lumpy.
I do want to let you know of ForkFest at ForkFest 2018. It's coming up June 14th through the 18th. Lumpy, you planning on joining us for ForkFest this year?
I am now.
Excellent.
Yeehaw!
It's happening at...
I'm going to party with Lumpy again.
It's happening at Rogers.
I hope so, yeah.
Rogers Campground at the beautiful White Mountains of New Hampshire. If you've ever been there before, you definitely want to come back. If you've never been there before, then you really don't want to miss it. It's a lot of fun to be in the woods with other liberty-minded people, and who knows what substances will be floating around. Forkfest.party is where you can go to learn more about it. That's going to be happening. It's the second time. So last year was the very first time ForkFest occurred. It's a decentralized liberty camping festival, meaning there's nobody who's in charge. There's no board of directors. Nobody's deciding anything except for each individual. So each individual attending decides what they want to do. If you want to go and create something for other people to experience, whether it be speeches or music or movie display or whatever it is that you've got in mind. I know Daryl's going to be throwing a party one night, and then he's got athletic events he's going to be doing on, I think, the daytime hours on that day. Jay Noon's got a wedding that's happening there. There's also...
Is he marrying somebody or getting married to somebody?
He's getting married to somebody.
Oh, wow.
And so those are a few of the things that are happening that I've heard of. And if you want to go to forkfest.party, that's where you can learn more about the event. Again, that's forkfest.party. It's happening June 14th through the 18th. Lumpy, what were you calling about tonight?
Well, there's something else I've got to just bring up. I remember years ago when I was at PorkFest, and I was close to people who were selling lots of cannabis products. And the last day of the event, these people came in that had not been there for the entire event that I had seen, because I had been out walking around doing my thing, smoking a bong everywhere with, families and everything, as if it was, dangerous or something, right?
Right.
And Gary Johnson, by the way, who denied smoking pot. So,
no, he only
liar.
denied it in a certain time frame.
Well, I mean, maybe we shouldn't
okay.
incriminate him though, because pot's still illegal.
Well, he's. I mean, I don't get the impression that Gary Johnson smokes pot very often. I mean, he said he had an edible within the last month in one interview.
I kind of do get the impression
that from that he's a pothead and he's out there every day doing nothing but smoking. Well, most people who smoke pot don't do that. Most people who smoke pot smoke at a party once every couple of weeks when it comes around to them, and don't do it.
Well, now that Adam Kokesh is running for not president, that makes 4 people that have run for president that I've been lucky enough to smoke cannabis with.
There you go.
So that's
nice.
All at PorkFest.
I feel important. Yeah. Well, the reasons I'm calling tonight is because I just, you guys talk about what I think are the real news, the real issues, and I love this show for that. I can't get enough of you guys and the issues that you put up. The reason why I think that drugs like marijuana, LSD, psilocybin, mushrooms, ayahuasca, peyote, DMT, et cetera, they're all illegal is because, A, they cure you of the belief in government or the state.
They don't always.
B,
There's plenty of people out there who've done LSD that still.
Yeah, well, we still have Gary Johnson.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And then B, they cure you of the belief that the things are actually bad. And that could be, you can still believe they're bad if you take 150. Oh my God. I knew it was a sheet and a half right away. I thought you would have known that. But anyway, and C, that, you can't get a patent on any of these things. You can't get a patent on mushrooms because they grow out on horse manure out, or cow manure out in the woods or in the fields or, certain areas. And LSD is basically an organic fungus that grows on rye seeds, not like 2CI or something like that. That I think is a chemical thing.
I actually think you're incorrect on that. There is a hallucinogen that's produced by a fungus on rye seeds that's similar to LSD, and they believe it was related to the Salem witch trials. But LSD is not the fungus. It's definitely a molecule.
Well, it's
Albert
something
Hoffman, Albert Hoffman, born in Switzerland, joined the Pharmaceutical Chemical Department of Sandoz Laboratories located in Basel as a co-worker with so-and-so. He began studying the medicinal plant squill and the fungus ergot as part of a program to purify and synthesize active constituents for use as pharmaceuticals. His main contribution was to elucidate the chemical structure of the common nucleus of cilia glycosides. While researching lysergic acid derivatives, Hoffman first synthesized LSD in 1938 on November 16th. The main intention of the synthesis was to obtain a respiratory and circulatory stimulant. It was set aside for 5 years until April 17th of 1943 when Hoffman decided to take a second look at it. While resynthesizing LSD, he accidentally absorbed a small amount of the drug through his fingertips and discovered its powerful effects. So I guess that doesn't say exactly how he synthesized it, but it doesn't sound like he pulled it from some seed.
Well,
I believe
when
I
you
read that same article.
synthesize something, you're building the molecule, and when you're isolating or purifying it, or extracting it, then it's coming from a plant.
I see.
But
so he built it somehow.
Yeah, if you synthesize it as synthetic, so it was the result of some chemical reaction, which I know people who know how to do that chemical reaction, but it's more Heisenberg than mushroom.
Gotcha. All right, Lumpy, go ahead.
Well, it's just that these things are things you can basically make in your kitchen safely. They're therapeutic. I mean, there's other things that
you cannot make LSD in your kitchen safely. You have to be a chemist. You have to be a chemist who knows what the hell you're doing before you start messing with that stuff. That's why that's why you don't have a bunch of LSD floating around. There's only certain people who know what they're doing that can actually make it in mass amounts. And
Now, a lot of the
I may or
recreational
may not know
drugs,
some
though,
of those
you
people.
can.
But it can't be patented, and it's not something that people can patent, is what I'm trying to say. And there's a lack of control and profit motive.
Yeah, if they can't get a cut, it's illegal. That's kind of
exactly right. I mean, there's
hang
things
on,
like
Lumpy. I don't know if you had more to say, but if you do, you can hang on. We'll bring it back here for this why drugs are illegal, because they do have the potential to expand people's minds beyond the point where the government feels comfortable with them. There's more coming up here. It's Free Talk Live.
The Bitcoin.com wallet is a simple and powerful, full-featured wallet that allows you to send and receive Bitcoin Cash and Bitcoin Core with anyone, anywhere in the world. It supports both single and multi-signature wallets and is available in multiple languages. The Bitcoin.com wallet is available on Windows, Linux, Mac, Android, and iOS devices. Learn more at wallet.bitcoin.com.
What's more profitable, running your business or doing bookkeeping? Doing your business, of course, but you want to keep your books so that you can maximize your tax savings, right? What if I told you that there's a person that's a bookkeeper, accountant, and law school graduate that's also a hardcore libertarian?
My name is Melanie Johnson, and I hate the state. I will aggressively help you to minimize your tax exposure and maximize profits, all while staying within the law.
Melanie's your best choice for your taxes and bookkeeping needs. Go to tax.freetalklive.com and check out our website, tax.freetalklive.com.
I tried other brands, but I came back to my Sunshine.
For the best hot or cold pain relief, get the best. Get a Sunny Bay heating pad.
Sometimes life can be a pain in the neck or back or shoulder.
And the best relief for that pain is a Sunny Bay heating pad. Did you know that the American College of Physicians said that one of the best ways to treat muscle pain is heat therapy? Sunny Bay heating pads are handmade with high quality, can be used at home or at work, and have a lifetime 100% positive rating on both Amazon and Etsy.
Why take another pill?
Many people use our Sunny Bay heating pads alone and got rid of the neck pain.
Long distance travel or long hours in front of a computer can take its toll on your body.
See why our homegrown small business at sunny-bay.com has tried to help people just like you. Get your Sunny Bay heating pads at sunny-bay.com. That's sunny-bay.com or call 253-678-1361 for hot and cold therapy. sunny-bay.com.
Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it, and once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world, so I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here, and I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit ShireSociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, add yourself to the Shire map at ShireSociety.com. That's ShireSociety.com. Did you know you can watch Free Talk Live during our live show 7 days a week from 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern via our studio cams at cam.freetalklive.com? Plus, you can chat with other listeners while you watch, all totally free. Now that our live video stream is hosted by YouTube, our video archives will be online even faster. So be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Listen, watch, and chat all free at cam.freetalklive.com. That's cam.freetalklive.com.
I love My Magic Mud. I drink a lot of coffee. I had stains on my teeth. Then I found My Magic Mud, and I was told it would remove stains. So I paid attention when I brushed the first time. My Magic Mud is black tooth powder, and the difference it made in my teeth in one application was noticeable. With 4, my teeth were as white as you normal folks out there. Please go to mymagicmud.com and buy a jar. There's 150 applications for $25. You can use Bitcoin, mymagicmud.com.
Help get LRN.FM into more ears. Visit promote.lrn.fm for a free bumper sticker, flyers, banners, graphics, and more. Promote.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. Dial on in here toll free and bring up anything you want to discuss. Our number here, 855-450-FREE. We got maybe enough time for you if you get on the lines right now. With you here tonight, it's Ian.
Melanie.
And Rich.
Got a libertarian-run business that's yours or that you even know of? You can add it to liberty.menu. It is a tool for the liberty community for people who reject the initiation of force and who agree to abide by the ethics of the non-aggression principle. If that describes you, you really ought to be over at liberty.menu right now. Well, if you're driving, wait until you're done. But then go there and add your business to the menu. Add your business to the map. It's essentially a map of all the liberty, well, not all of them, but as many as have added themselves, liberty-friendly businesses out there, people who are freedom-friendly and run a business, who want liberty-minded people to know about their business. Or maybe not just businesses, but events coordination. If you're putting together an event like Forkfest, for instance, that's up there. Digital content creators. You make movies, you make videos, you make audio production, whatever. You put your content there as well. Liberty.menu. It's a great site, and it's totally free, so there really is no reason not to go there and add your stuff to it. So Liberty.menu. It will help other libertarians discover you, whatever products or services that you're offering. Liberty.menu. As we continue here, Lumpy is still on the line with us on the Discord on-air call-in line room. You were talking, Lumpy, about your, what you believe the reasons are that the state continues with prohibition on psychedelic substances.
Well, I believe there's a lot of ignorance, and I don't mean that in a derogatory way. The people who are against it, and I was actually asked a short time ago by James on Discord, messaged me, James from Arizona.
God.
And yeah, well, he's a fan of yours, Rich.
Jesus.
And, yep. So, but the reason there's so many of us,
cracker.
I used to be on the other side of the drug war, and I was an ignorant buffoon. Okay,
Oh, wow.
I was absolutely stupid. Yeah, I absolutely was. I was on the other side of the drug war. Didn't use anything for like 20 years, and let me tell you, it didn't do me any good. I felt like I needed a lot of different things, and that was a big part of my realization. And I'm sitting here with something that on my it's legal now, but it's a CBD salve that if I have a joint, my joints ache or my back hurts or my elbow, my foot, or my skin is bad, I can put this on myself. Has no cannabis in it whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, no THC in it. It's
Right.
just CBD. When it's probably better with the THC in it. And if I got a little high, fine, that's fine. I'm not one of those people who can, I can manage probably a little better with some. And but I do believe that there's, it's like, we have alcohol is legal, and it is so bad, and it is the worst, and cigarettes and stuff like that. And, it's that back then, I think that back when prohibition for alcohol started, and the outcry was so much because, well, the government was so much smaller. It's not that the outcry was so much, but the government had so much less power then. Now they've evolved into this giant machine. And, the information and misinformation, there's so much missing information out there. When more of us are able to have the courage to stand up and stop these harms, and just not even stand up, just stop the harms that are coming to so many people who are innocent of not even harming anyone, who are even probably trying to prevent harm to themselves and other people by testing themselves with these substances. I'm not recommending that everybody go out there and drop 150 hits of acid.
Oh, God, no.
But the information
nobody should ever do that, ever.
so lacking. It's so lacking. I've tried it, and I've used it recreationally, and it's turned out to be so much more than just recreational.
I've used it spiritually. I mean, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Well, there's other things. There's stuff that kava
I've used
root
it spiritually
extract,
while intending to use it recreationally.
Sure.
Exactly. That's what's happened to me. But I mean, there's things in places like I'm trying to think, Fiji and some other of the islands down there. They grow this kava root, which will give you make a like a tea or a coffee out of it, and your lips will get a little numb, and you're very calm. I wonder how long that's going to become before it's illegal. It's taken the people who have the things like even aromatherapy. I never thought it was a real thing until I learned about the terpenes in cannabis. So, I can see that there's benefit to all these things, but all those things are so outside the current norm because of the overwhelming amount of misinformation, the overwhelming size of the state having control.
Yep.
and the indoctrination of all of us.
But the nice thing is we're starting to see that breakdown. We're starting to see those old prohibitions
and
being
when it
picked
does,
away at.
the information will be flowing to all the people that.
Well, and that's what's happened is the
Yeah.
information age is upon us. And Lumpy, thank you for the call tonight. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
That's what's happened, and that's why we're seeing these changes. Is because previously 20, 30 years ago, you couldn't easily find information about LSD or MDMA or whatever.
Well, 30 years ago, you couldn't easily find information about anything.
Right, but even you could still open the encyclopedia.
Find out about most things by going to the library.
Right, you could still open the encyclopedia and learn some stuff about whatever general topic you were looking
There's
for.
pretty basic information in this encyclopedia. Though.
Yeah, but you could still find experts more easily on topics that were public. Drugs, these sort of underground topics, would have been even more difficult to find information on or reliable information on. Up until the advent of the internet, when we started to see this information availability change in a dramatic manner. You've got so many different sites now with so many, like Arrowhead.org. I always have to plug Arrowhead whenever we're doing drug conversations here, because if you want to learn about drugs, there are some great resources, and Arrowhead's the one that's been around, in my opinion, the longest. It has the most diverse set of drugs on there. You can learn about pharmaceuticals. You can learn about the illegal ones. You can learn about plants. They have all kinds of different choices there, and of course the drugs that have been around for longer, like LSD or MDMA, there's more information about those. Whereas if you're looking at, let's say, an experimental chemical that's just come out a year ago, obviously there's not going to be a whole lot about that. But Arrowhead.org, I would say, is the go-to website for anybody that wants to learn about various different drugs, which of course is what you ought to do if you're considering taking even one hit of LSD. And you need to be in the right set and setting. You need to know at least, you're not going to know what it's like until you do it. But at the very least, you can read other people's experiences on Arrowhead. You can read the frequently asked questions. You can get the basics on dosage and things like that. You really owe it to yourself, if you're going to get into these things, to learn about them. And thankfully, we have that information now. And with organizations like the Multidisciplinary Association for Psychedelic Studies out there, they're using the internet to garner support, to garner donations from people to where they can go out there and do these studies, like testing LSD on people that have anxiety. I was looking at the Wikipedia article about LSD, and this is one of the more recent studies that MAPS has been involved with, where they actually did, testing on, when was this? 2014. 8 subjects received a full 200 microgram dose of LSD, while 4 others received 1/10 as much. Participants then took part in 2 LSD-assisted therapy sessions 2 to 3 weeks apart. Subjects who took the full dose experienced reductions in anxiety averaging 20%, while those given the low dose reported becoming more anxious. When subjects taking the low dose were switched to the full dose, they too showed reduced anxiety, with positive effects lasting for up to a year. So we're not talking about a minor reduction for a short period of time. We're talking about a reduction of noticeable amount for a long period of time.
And that's another reason that Big Pharma is not going to like this drug, because if they want to sell you something you can take every day for the rest of your life.
Right. And we've seen people taking, I remember you looked at a study once about psychedelic mushrooms, helping people quit smoking cigarettes.
Yeah, I've actually, and I want that to become a part of what the Church of the Invisible Hand does.
That's your church.
So, yeah, that's my church, and I've found a psychologist now who's agreed to teach me to do the other part of that, because you don't get these benefits necessarily from getting high
just
on these substances. You get them by using them in particular ways.
With a therapist, for instance.
Yeah, and with smoking tobacco, what they did during those sessions at Johns Hopkins was cognitive behavioral therapy. So I'm going to be learning that so that I can do that with people.
Very cool.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, and all of this has become possible because of the internet, because we can now communicate the truths about these things in a way that previously was impossible. Previously, the only communication that happened about LSD were the alarmist headlines of, teenager jumps out of 5-story window because he thought he was a bird on LSD, or some, ridiculous headline like that. That's all about fear-mongering and has no real truth or, valuable information to it. So that's all starting to change. And it's only going to get better, I think, from here on out as more people come out and more people, especially these professionals coming out and admitting to using LSD for microdosing and that saying that it helps them. So we're out of time for tonight, but you can join us tomorrow online in the meantime over at freetalklive.com. Hop in our Discord at discord.lrn.fm.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, we can have a free market, a truly free market.
Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. It's physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project Early Movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com. Ross Ulbricht was convicted in early 2015 of running the infamous Silk Road Underground Market. The Silk Road was a gift to humanity and helped reduce the harms brought on by drug prohibition. For this good deed, Ross has been sentenced to life in prison with no possibility of parole. Now, an appeal is Ross's only chance, and he needs your support. Please visit freeross.org, where you can contribute via various methods, including Bitcoin. Visit freeross.org. That's freeross.org. Did you know we've taken our LRN.FM telephone listen line to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on-demand line? Now you can call 712-770-8447 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed. And you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long-distance fees may apply. Just dial 712-770-8447 and choose from the menu. 712-770-8447.
The latest episode of Declare Your Independence is next, after the news, here on the Liberty Radio Network, LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Monday, April 16th, 2018. Silver is trading at $16.67 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,347 per ounce. Zen Cash is trading at $34, and the average price of Bitcoin is $8,129. Antiwar.com reports U.S. Ambassador to the United Nations Nikki Haley announced on Sunday that the U.S. troops in Syria will